A very happy Red Shirt Friday to you, and welcome on into Spillane Field for Game 31 of the Cape Cod Baseball League season as the Wareham Gatemen take on the Chatham Anglers. I'm Eric Bramer, joined by Jake Garcia. And Jake, this is the fourth and final time that these two teams will meet, and there will be no tears in the home dugout. The Anglers and the Eastern Division as a whole have been really tough on the Gatemen this year.
Yeah, the Gatemen coming into this game, losers of their past 8 ball games against the Eastern Division in the Cape League, and against Chatham, 0-3 tonight, trying to avoid a loss and becoming 0-4 against the second team in the East. They're already 0-4 against Orleans. It's really not what you want to see for this Gatemen team. They've been outscored by 26 runs against the East. Really tough sledding against that portion of the conference.
We can merge our discussion of the past opponents and the Gatemen past performance, because for the second time this year, the Gatemen are playing the same team 2 games in a row. Wednesday night was a 2-1 loss in Chatham to the Anglers, and about as spectacular of a 2-1 game as you can imagine. 17 runners left on base for the Anglers. While that's good, the Gatemen left runners on in scoring position. That's really not sustainable.
Yeah, you can look at this one of 2 ways. One, the Gatemen performed well in high leverage situations, only allowed 2 runs in that game, but chances are if you continue to allow 17 base runners on base in one single game, you're probably going to give up more than 2 runs. It's not a recipe for sustained success, but not like this team has had a lot in the recent games.
Tonight on the bump for the Gatemen is Sean Anderson. We haven't seen a whole lot of the righty from Florida, but what we've seen of him has been pretty impressive, and national writers are beginning to take notice.
Yeah, the buzz is really starting to heat up around Sean Anderson. He's a big 6'3", 225 righty, has a power fastball and a slider that misses a ton of bats. He's only started 1 game this season for the Gatemen, but boy was it impressive. 5 innings, 6 strikeouts, only 1 hit against the Bourne Braves. He has all the tools to succeed at the next level, something you can't say about quite a few of these Cape League pitchers who've excelled this season.
Gatemen offensive woes are no secret, especially the past couple weeks. But one guy who has been hitting the ball well is Mark Karaviotis. He got bumped up to the 3 spot about a week ago, and he's excelled since. 2 hits on Wednesday night, including driving in the game's only run. For more on the shortstop, we're joined by the 3rd member of our broadcast team, Megan O'Brien.
Thanks, guys. And you said stars are starting to heat up about Sean Anderson, and the same is happening with Mark Karaviotis. As you mentioned, he moved his way up in the lineup, started in the 7 hole. Now tonight, he's in the 3 hole of the lineup, and we talked to manager Cooper Ferris before the game. He said there's not a lot of gap-to-gap power in this offensive lineup, and they're going to rely heavily on the bats of Kalika and Mark Karaviotis if the Gatemen want to put some runs on the board tonight. Back to you guys.
This one hit well by Sowers to left. Back is Tubbs, reaching up. It's gone! Home run, Logan Sowers, the first for the Gatemen this season. It was a no-doubter.
Fly ball right field, Jabs charging in. He makes the catch. Boomer White's going to attempt to tag. The throw to the plate in time. He got him.
The 0-1 to Matajevic hit well to center field. Charlie Warren ranging back to left center, reaching up and making the catch, crashing into the wall. What a catch by Charlie Warren, robbing an extra base hit and keeping the no-hitter intact.
Oh my goodness, that was just a devastating breaking ball thrown by Spitzbarth there. It looks sort of like an E-fist.
The 3-1. Hit well to right field. Walker back. This one is gone. A grand slam for Jay Jabs and 6 runs for the Gatemen here in the 2nd.
That was an absolute moonshot. And here he is. Fastball in there, strike 3, got him looking. Bailey Clark escapes the jam.
The 3-1, hit well to left center field. Bird is back, he is not going to catch it, it's off the base of the wall. 1 run will score, Jabs is quickly behind him. He will score as well. It's a 2 RBI double for Andrew Kisner, and the Gatemen now lead 7-0. Now has a 2-2 to Bortles. He got him! Zach Houston comes in the game and strikes out the side.
Ground ball up the middle, Grand Prix spins around, throws. What a play, Preston Grand Prix!
Hi, I'm Kyle Schwarber, and you're listening to Wareham Gatemen Baseball.
Welcome on in to Spillane Field. I'm Eric Bramer, joined by Jake Garcia and Megan O'Brien. We're about 7 minutes away from first pitch on a very special Friday evening here in Wareham. It is Red Shirt Friday, part of an ongoing league-wide initiative to honor military members, past and present. But tonight we're going full red, so to speak, and we're going to have special ceremonies and guests throughout the evening. Between the baselines, though, an interesting game. The Gatemen have been struggling. There's no way around it. And the Chatham Anglers in second place have won 3 of their 3 games against the Gatemen this year. It's going to be an interesting matchup, the Gatemen turning to a guy in Sean Anderson, who has had a lot of success even in limited action this year.
Yeah, that's right. Anderson coming into this game. We touched a little bit on him in the open, but this will be his 4th appearance of the year for the Wareham Gatemen. 2 of them have come in relief, and then I talked about that one start he had against Bourne, which was absolutely electric. Those 2 relief outings, though, one of them is important to note. It came on the 14th against Orleans. He threw an inning. So just like Dalton Jeffries came on in relief and then started a few days later, the same holds true for Sean Anderson. Pitching coach Jim Lawler figuring that he wants to get these guys a tune-up and then throw them out there for a start right after that.
Now the national anthem.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight, o'er the ramparts we watched, were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
As we wait for first pitch, we will give you the lineups first for the visiting Chatham Anglers coming into the game 17-13 in second place in the Eastern Division. Lineup presented by head coach John Schiffner. Leading off, playing second base, Kyle Brooks. Batting second in right field, Trenton Brooks. Batting third, the designated hitter, Will Craig. Batting cleanup, the catcher, Aaron Barnett. Batting fifth, the left fielder, Nate Mondu. Batting sixth at third base, Zach Short. Batting seventh, the center fielder, Jake Fraley. Batting eighth and playing first base, Kyle Adams. And rounding out the order, batting ninth and playing shortstop is Garrett Hampson.
Some notable members that are absent of this lineup tonight for the Chatham Anglers: Aaron Knapp, Todd Zinnigy, and Luke Persico. The 3 of those have really pestered the Gatemen up to this point in the season. Don't forget about Trenton Brooks, though. He's collected 6 hits in only 3 games against this Gatemen team.
Tonight, the ceremonial first pitch is being thrown out by Angela Sinsis, home base veteran outreach coordinator. She's a first lieutenant military police with the Massachusetts Army National Guard. She was deployed from 2009 to 2010 to Al-Assad, Iraq, with the 747th Military Police Company. Now giving back as part of the effort to comfort and acclimate 9/11 and post 9/11 veterans as they return to civilian life. The defense for the Wareham Gatemen, going left to right across the outfield, is Logan Sowers, Andrew Kalika, and Charlie Warren. In the infield at third base, John Sternagel. At shortstop, Preston Grand Prix. At second base, Mark Karaviotis. At first base, David McKinnon. And catching tonight is Nick Sieri, catching the right-hander Sean Anderson. Interesting to see Sieri behind the plate and Kisner DHing tonight.
Yeah, but Sieri did perform very well in his last start behind the plate, which came against these Chatham Anglers. Andrew Kisner kind of struggled in his time there, so maybe the Gatemen see something in Nick Sieri's catching abilities that they like and will latch on to going forward.
We are just moments away from the Gatemen taking the field again. Special presentations tonight, so not sure how long this will take. The Gatemen wearing their red shirts or red jerseys for the Red Shirt Friday, and home white pants. The Anglers in their royal blue tops and gray pants. Typical road uniforms for them. Sometimes we've seen teams wear their home uniforms on the road during these Friday games because they don't have anything that does not clash to put it mildly, with the other team's uniforms. But the Anglers are blue, the Gatemen are red, so no issue.
Our viewers saw us in our pregame open with our red shirts on. Last second purchases on our part, but good to support a cause.
I purchased them at Target, and we look like Target employees with our red polos and khakis.
You could actually call me Jake from State Farm.
You could.
I'm not sure what they can call you, maybe just a Target employee. But I will adopt the role of Jake from State Farm, have that red polo and khakis on.
No weather concerns tonight. By all accounts, it's supposed to be another beautiful summer evening. Wednesday night in Chatham was not a beautiful summer evening. It felt like a brisk fall evening. Temperatures in the 60s and a cool wind blowing in and also creating some fog concerns. The Gatemen have now taken the field. Sean Anderson is stepping to the mound to begin his warm-up tosses. Once he gets a game ball, he'll do so. Anderson, an interesting case. He has yet to allow an earned run in the Cape League season.
A total of 7 innings coming into this ball game, so his ERA still sitting at a perfect 0.00 in those 7 innings, a total of 6 strikeouts. He is a strikeout artist. Fastball goes 91 to 93, but because it's so heavy and it has some late sink to it, it comes in a little bit faster, and really he minimizes a lot of his in-zone techniques with the fact that it's a heavy fastball, so these hitters have trouble really squaring the ball up against him. Has a changeup as well that goes 81 to 83, and then we talked about that slider of his, a similar speed to the changeup, but of course with a lot more movement.
Pitching has not been an issue for the Gatemen, save for a couple aberrations, one of which came against this Anglers team about a week ago. But a 2.76 team ERA among members of the active roster. We just mentioned that Anderson bringing that down with his 0.00 ERA, but 175 strikeouts in 192 and a thirds innings. They're getting strikeouts, they're getting outs, and the defense has been pretty good too. That's the makings of half of a team that can make it pretty deep into the postseason. The only problem is that their offense leaves something to be desired, or at least right now.
Yeah, that's exactly right. First 20 games of the season, this team averaging 4.4 runs per game. Last 10 games, only 1.7. So the offensive struggles have certainly been apparent.
Brooks, and Craig due up for the Anglers. Kyle Brooks, the second baseman tonight, about to step into the right-handed batter's box. Standing at 5'7" by a couple inches is the shortest person on this Anglers roster. Coming into the game, batting .269 as the first pitch got him on the elbow. And a base runner on one pitch for the Anglers, a hit by pitch. Brooks is at first for now Trenton Brooks. Not the way that Anderson wanted to start his night, but he'll have to cope with it going into the stretch right away. Now Trenton Brooks playing right field tonight for the Anglers. His average coming in at .258. 24 hits in 93 at-bats, 4 of them for extra bases, all doubles. Second, tied for second on the team with 11 runs batted in.
So with that leadoff base runner for the Chatham Anglers, make that 11 innings in a row in which they've placed a runner on base against this Gatemen team.
First pitch swinging, sent foul out of play.
8 2 days ago, 8 straight innings in which a runner reached base, and then in the last 3 innings of Game 2 of this 4-game series, they reached a runner on base as well. So 11 innings in a row with a runner on base against the Gatemen.
Anderson with the 0-1, missing high. Appeal down to third is no appeal because third base umpire Tom Carey is now standing by second base with the runner on first. Other umpires for tonight's game, Sparky Burns at first and Charlie Campbell behind the plate. Brooks takes another pitch, and it misses just outside, now 2-1. We mentioned 17 runners left on base Wednesday night for this Anglers squad, but perhaps even more impressive or disconcerting depending on which side you're on, There was at least one runner in scoring position left on base in every inning during that game. Another pitch misses just outside. It's 3-1 with Will Craig on deck. (3-1) to Brooks. Hit in the air, foul, and out of play left side. Now the count runs full. We'll see if that changes Brooks' plans at first base. Kyle Brooks standing at first base. 2 stolen bases in 3 attempts this year. Trenton Brooks at the plate. 14 walks to 18 strikeouts. Payoff pitch from Anderson. Foul tipped into the dirt. Just got a piece. And Brooks was taking off on the pitch. This Anglers lineup is situated, oriented to be the most confusing it can possibly be. Kyle Brooks batting right in front of Trenton Brooks. Zach Short playing third base. We were lucky a couple games ago when he was playing shortstop. Another 3-2. Runner goes and it misses up and away. A hit by pitch followed by a full count walk. And the Anglers have their first 2 runners on board with nobody out for Will Craig.
Of course, you don't want to allow 2 base runners to start the game off, but maybe that's not the worst case scenario for the Gatemen. I talked about it a little bit, but Trenton Brooks has just completely pestered this Gatemen team. 6 for 15 with 4 runs in the 3 games in which he's suited up against the Gatemen. The Gatemen will be fine to put him aboard first base, and thankful that the runner advance was only 90 feet, because if he continued his recent trend against the Gatemen, Brooks, the guy in front of him, would be on third or already crossed the plate.
First pitch to Craig. Splits the plate in half, 0-1. Sternagel was playing in on the grass. Not expecting the big 3-hitter Craig to bunt, but a safeguard perhaps against a play. McKinnon at first, not holding the runner on. Middle infielders are about at double play depth with Karaviotis keeping the runner close at second. The 0-1. Chopped on the ground, right side. Karaviotis is going to have one play and it's to first base. He makes it. For all intents and purposes, a sacrifice with both Brookses moving up a base. Now it's second and third with one down for the cleanup hitter, Aaron Barnett.
Even if Karaviotis decides to charge that ball there, it's so far in on the grass that I don't think he has a play at second base. So a good job by him in taking what the ball gives him, playing it on a few hops, making the surefire play over at first.
Aaron Barnett out of Pepperdine catching tonight. Not very often will you see a cleanup hitter with no extra base hits on the year, but that's the case with Barnett. 20 hits, all of them singles. He won't be too picky here. He'll take a single or just a fly ball to the outfield. It should be able to get the speedy Brooks home from third base for the game's first run.
I think John Schiffner is just using the same exact approach that Cooper Ferris is using by slotting Karaviotis in the 3-hole. Barnett is by far the hottest hitter on this Chatham Anglers team. Had 2 hits against the Gatemen his last time out.
First pitch, a low strike, 0-1. Infield playing back, they'll concede the run. Outfield playing about straight up with Kalika in center field. Exactly straight up. Perhaps shaded a step or two to right center. Anderson's 0-1. Swing and a miss on a breaking pitch in the dirt. I think that was the slider, and it's quickly 0-2.
His slider will go 81 to 83 miles an hour, and as you saw there, and Barnett was a victim to it, a lot of late movement. And that's the best kind of movement because hitters give up on a pitch early, and then it just either darts into the strike zone or darts out of the strike zone and becomes a ball like it did just there.
0-2 to Barnett. Got a piece of it and rolled it to third. Sternagel has to go across to first. The throw is on target, but an RBI ground out for Aaron Barnett. Kyle Brooks scoring from third, and the Anglers are out to an early 1-0 lead.
Kind of interesting there that the corners at least weren't playing in on the grass. If Sternagel is, I'm not sure if the runner on third takes off for home, and if he does, then Sternagel can gun him down at the plate. But as it is, he was playing deeper in the hole to allow himself some more time, and Brooks crosses for the first run of the game.
Trenton Brooks stayed at second, so he's still in scoring position with 2 down for Nate Mondu, the left fielder tonight. Mondu out of Wake Forest, batting .226 on the year. First pitch, a high fastball, just got a piece and sent it straight back.
Also, don't want to overlook the great piece of hitting there from Barnett, protecting deep in the count. It was a pitch that was on the outside corner. We saw Sierra kind of jump over to the right-handed batter's box, but for Barnett, it was a one-handed swing and good bat-to-ball skills, poked it down the third base line.
Anderson has allowed the first run of the year, trying to avoid allowing a second. The 0-1 misses outside to even up the count. Mondu awaits the 1-1 delivery from Sean Anderson. Check of the runner and the pitch, missing outside, 2-1. When Anderson's missed, he has missed outside, which isn't bad. We'll see if the Anglers adjust and crowd the plate, force him to go inside. Anderson's 2-1. Mondu taps it on the ground, right side. Karaviotis has another chance, and he throws on to first to retire Mondu. But the Anglers get 1 run on no hits. They left a runner in scoring position once again. We head to the bottom of the first, 1-0 Chatham on WCTV and the Cape Cod Baseball League Network. One nothing. Anglers lead the Gatemen as we head to the bottom of the first inning. Eric Raymer, joined by Jake Garcia and Megan O'Brien, will give you the lineups for the Wareham Gatemen. Coming into the game 12-17-1, third place in the Western Division of the Cape Cod Baseball League. The lineup presented by head coach Cooper Ferris. Leading off playing center field, Andrew Kalika. Batting second in right field, Charlie Warren. Batting third, the second baseman, Mark Karaviotis. Batting cleanup, the catcher, Nick Sierra. Batting fifth at first base, David McKinnon. Batting sixth, the designated hitter tonight, Andrew Kisner. Batting seventh and in left field, Logan Sowers. Batting eighth, the third baseman, John Sternagel. And rounding out the order, batting ninth and playing shortstop, Preston Grand Prix. They'll be facing a guy in Daniel Castano, who seems to fit the prototype of pretty much everyone who's given the Gatemen trouble this year.
Yeah, and actually looking back on it, the Gatemen have struggled more against right-handed pitchers than they have against left-handed pitchers this season. But any way you look at it, this is an offense that's coming into this game struggling quite a bit. They have some guys in this lineup in Sowers, Sternagel, and sort of Grand Prix who are really scuffling at the plate.
Kalika offers at the first pitch and sends it straight up in the air. Almost a miss by Aaron Barnett behind the plate, but he recovers to make a fair ball catch. 1 pitch, 1 out, and Kalika's retired. That'll bring up Charlie Warren. The defense for the Anglers tonight, left to right across the outfield, Nate Mondu, Jake Fraley, and Trenton Brooks. In the infield at third base, Zach Short. At short, Garrett Hampson. At second, Kyle Brooks. And at first, Kyle Adams. Behind the plate, who just made the catch, Aaron Barnett. He'll be catching pitches for the lefty, Daniel Castano. Again, first pitch swinging are the Gatemen. Warren taps it foul up the first base line.
Castano is 6'4", 230 left-handed pitcher going into his sophomore year at Baylor. So far this season with the Anglers, 1-3, an ERA in the threes at 3.13. This will be his 5th start of the season, thrown a total of 23 innings, has 17 strikeouts.
Grounder to short, Hampson charges, throws high, but on target enough for Adams to keep his foot on the bag. Scored 6-3 and quickly 2 down for Castano and the Anglers here in the bottom of the first.
Like I said, Castano making his 5th start of the season. This will actually be his 6th appearance, though. In his last outing, he was in a relief role, and it was probably his best outing of the season. Came against Brewster back on July 10th, threw 4 perfect innings, not allowing a hit or any runs.
Mark Karaviotis stepping in. And looking at a first pitch, low ball 1. Karaviotis had 2 hits on Wednesday night against the same Anglers team. He also drove in the only run of the game for the Gatemen with an RBI single.
That shot just before, a new camera angle that we have for tonight's game. More of a press box view from our vantage point. There it is again. I'm a fan of that. Nice scenic shot.
Yeah, I like it.
I think we were blessed with the services of another camera, so time to get creative.
2-0 missing low and away. 3-0 now to Karaviotis with Nick Sierri waiting on deck.
Can see another camera that we have to the left from this vantage point of home plate.
3-0 to Karaviotis. Hits the outer half, and now 3-1.
The left field cam from home run territory. All our camera guys doing a great job as always.
3-1, a high fastball, and Karaviotis swung through it. So now the count runs full. Castano, not a strikeout artist by any means. 17 strikeouts in 23 innings pitched. 3-2 hit sharply, but on a short hop to the second baseman Brooks. He throws on to the other Kyle Adams at first. 1-2-3 inning, and the Gatemen go down in order. We head to the top of the second, still 1-0 Chatham over Wareham on WCTV and the Cape Cod Baseball League Network. 1-0 Anglers over the Gatemen as we head to the top of the second inning. Eric Bramer joined by Jake Garcia and Megan O'Brien. It'll be 6, 7, and 8 for the Anglers, due up against Sean Anderson, who gave up his first earned run of the year in the first inning without allowing a hit. Zach Short, Jake Fraley, and Kyle Adams, the third baseman, center fielder, and first baseman for the Anglers.
So after that first inning, make it a run differential of -27 against Eastern Division teams for the Wareham Gatemen. Compare that to their success against the West. They're actually outscoring the West by a margin of +25. So some pretty big differences. All their struggles recently coming against the East, they've now lost 8 in a row.
First pitch swinging is short, sends it out to shallow center field, but Andrew Kalika, one of the rangiest center fielders in the league, has no trouble with it, out number 1.
And in that same article that we've been alluding to, D1 Baseball doing a piece on Sean Anderson, raving about his next level potential, they also talked about guys with plus tools. And while they didn't go in depth about everyone, one guy they singled out was Andrew Kalika, talking about how you really can't teach speed, and he certainly possesses that in center field.
Jake Fraley takes up and away. Fraley on the year, batting .344 in limited action, 11 hits and 32 at-bats. All of those hits were singles. The 1-0 just misses outside. Charlie Campbell behind home plate looked like he flinched, but alas, no call. It's 2-0. Anderson out of Florida could pack a pretty good 1-2 punch with lefty Logan Shore next year. 2-0 hits the inside corner, now 2-1. Gators made it to the NCAA tournament this year, but ultimately falling a bit short. Now 3-1 with Kyle Adams on deck. Time is called at home plate as Fraley adjusts something and now steps back in. Pitch on the inside corner, a called strike. Looked like Fraley checked his swing, but must have hit the zone. Now the count runs full. Anderson with the payoff pitch to Fraley, fouled back out of play over our heads. Pretty good crowd here tonight. Now in peak tourism season on the Cape. The 3-2. Hit in the air, left side, foul territory, and out of play. Onto the pavement behind the bleacher section. Wind blowing out to right field. We had a first pitch temperature of 73 degrees. A very nice night for baseball. Another 3-2 to Fraley. Missing ball 4, and it trickles by Sierri. Fraley in no hurry. He'll trot down to first with a 1-out walk.
Not what you want if you're Sean Anderson, putting a guy like Jake Fraley on base. Yes, he may be in the 7th spot of this Chatham lineup, but he's a guy from LSU like Kalika. Not from LSU, but the two of them possessing immense speed. I wouldn't be surprised to see Fraley here trying to nab second base and put himself in scoring position for Adams.
Adams on the year, batting a paltry 179, 7 hits in 39 at-bats. One of those hits was a double, and he has 2 runs batted in. Ball 1 misses up and away, and now Sierra out to have a chat with his righty. This Gatemen team just needs a spark. That's the sense that you get. Stuck in the doldrums of an 8-week-long season, and while losing streaks happen, in fact, you wrote an article on it before this one took place. Got to find ways to get out of it and get back into the winning groove. Like we said, pitching has not been the issue, save for a couple outliers. It's been an inability to, 1, get runners on base, and 2, get them going. First pitch, second pitch swinging, hit on the ground to McKinnon. He tags the bag, and with Fraley off, no chance for double play, but Fraley advances to second, scored 3 unassisted, and Adams is retired for out number 2. That'll bring up Garrett Hampson, shortstop. Hampson out of Long Beach State, originally from Reno. Batting 194 on the year, 7 hits in 36 at-bats, 1 double and 1 run batted in.
The batting average may not scream success, but he's played 1 game against this Gatemen team, and he went 2 for 3 in that game. So at least on a small sample size, likes playing the guys who call Spillane Field their home, and right here looking to cash in the second run of the game.
If he does not, it will extend the streak of Anglers leaving runners in scoring position. All 8 innings on Wednesday night, and then in the first inning with Brooks stranded at second. Now Fraley standing 180 feet away. Anderson's 0-1 to Hampson. Off-speed pitch, low in the zone, but called a strike, quickly 0-2. Hampson did not care for that call.
It was another slider from Sean Anderson on an 0-1 count. That's devastating. He has that pitch early in the count, pretty much game over at the plate. Now, the world is really at his fingertips. He can go high fastball or that same slider just even lower in the dirt, and of course have confidence in his catcher Sierra to block it.
Time is called at home plate after Anderson shook off a couple signs. With a 9-hitter here, the one thing you don't want to do is groove a pitch that's up in the zone. Here's the 0-2. Flipped foul and out of play down the right field line. That looked like a pretty good pitch. Anderson being aggressive, throwing a pitch in the zone on 0-2. Sean Anderson is still not yet allowed a hit tonight. 2 walks and a hit by a pitch. Already 1 earned run. Here's the 0-2 to Hampson. Just missing the inside corner. Very close pitch. Looked like Sierra had to shift in just a little bit to catch it, and that might have made the difference. Anderson checks Fraley at second. Now delivers the 1-2 to Hampson. Low in the dirt, smothered by Sierra. And I don't know if it's just selective memory, but it does seem like Sierra has improved that over the course of the year.
Yeah, he didn't allow any pass balls last time out against these Chatham Anglers team, and for a Gatemen team that struggled to find consistency behind home plate, Sierra has been a bright light these past few games, and dropping down to his knees there to smother a ball in a critical situation with the runner in scoring position is huge.
Anderson's 2-2 to Hampson. Ripped to left, down for a hit. Sowers will play it on a hop. Fraley rounding third on his way home. The throw is cut off. An RBI single for Garrett Hampson. And now a 2-0 Anglers lead. The first hit allowed of the game by Sean Anderson, but it comes at a big time with Fraley scoring from second with 2 down and a 2-strike count, no less. That's probably the most disappointing thing.
Yeah, the fastball originally in the 0-2 count was called a little bit too far inside. So then Anderson went with his slider. That's predictable, but unfortunately Hampson didn't chase at it. There he felt compelled to go back to the fastball, and it was one that he felt he had to locate better. Caught too much of the plate.
Hampson goes first pitch, called strike. The throw down to second, not in time. Hampson steals the first base of the game. He is no stranger to stolen bases. I beg your pardon, that's his first of the year. Huh. A thing like that. So now Hampson in scoring position. Count 0-1 to Kyle Brooks, who was hit by a pitch to begin the game and then came around to score the game's first run. Ripped on a line, but to the glove of Preston Grand Prix. That'll do it for the Anglers, but they add one more in the top half of the second. We head to the bottom of the second. 2-0 Chatham over Wareham on WCTV and the Cape Cod Baseball League Network. 2-0 Anglers over the Gatemen as we head to the bottom of the second inning. Eric Raymer joined by Jake Garcia and Megan O'Brien. It'll be Nick Sierri, David McKinnon, and Andrew Kisner due up for the Gatemen as they try and get their first hit of the game against Daniel Castano, and they hope to string a couple of them together and plate their first run.
I think Garrett Hampson stole second base in this past half inning for the sole purpose of being stranded there.
Yeah, probably. Sometimes we wonder if the players can hear us. We project our voices enough. First pitch to Sierri, a strike on the inside corner. That's something that Sierri has not seen much of. Most of his hits have come to the left side of the field, and while he is a pull hitter at heart, he hasn't been given too many opportunities. There, a pitch misses the inside corner, and it's 1-1. He wants to pull the ball more, and he's said as much, but if pitchers keep pitching him away, he'll keep getting his singles away. 1-1 to Sierri. Swing and a foul tip. To the backstop, it's 1-2.
Well, it's got to be frustrating for him because a guy who is used to pulling the ball, not seeing very many pitches on the inner portion of the plate, at some point it's going to become muscle memory, and he's going to continuously go with every single pitch. You saw it right there, kind of got tied up on that ball on the inside portion of the plate.
1-2 to Sierri, missing the outside corner, an off-speed pitch. It's 2-2.
Baseball's a game of constant adjustments. He adjusts to pitchers pitching him outside, and then once that becomes repeated too often, pitchers will then start going on the inner portion. Sierri will then have to readjust himself and go back to what he does best in pulling the ball.
Castano's 2-2 to Sierri inside. It hits Sierri, who made just enough of an attempt to get out of the way. He trots down to first, the first base run of the game for the Gatemen. And now Schiffner having some words with home plate umpire Charlie Campbell, who is alleging, just as I initially thought, that Sierri did not get out of the way a whole lot.
The first baseman, number 10.
Campbell, to his credit, not in the mood to argue, saying stop, 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 trying to shut things down before they escalate. So now with Sierri at first, McKinnon steps to the plate. Day in, day out, he's probably been the Gateman most consistent hitter. First pitch swinging, sends it foul down the right field line, staying in the field of play, but no play for the right fielder Trenton Brooks, 0-1.
And what tells me that David McKinnon is here to stay, many people calling his success in the early portion of the season unsustainable because he comes from a small school like Hartford. Well, he got off to such a sizzling start, then cooled down, was 2 for 22 at one point.
Chopped right back to the pitcher, Castano on to short to Hampson, on to first, not in time. David McKinnon showing off that soccer speed, beating out a fielder's choice. He takes the place of Sierri at first, now one down.
But to finish that thought, 2 for 22, so he got into a bit of a rut. But since then, he's developed a 4-game hitting streak, and that's what he comes into this game with. So showing that while pitchers may adjust to him, and after he gets off to a scorching start, he's going to cool down, obviously. But he's remained consistent, like you said, and his average back in the 280, 290 region.
Now Andrew Kisner, who is fighting it at the plate, giving himself an opportunity to DH tonight, as McKinnon checked back at first. We've seen him play first base, third base, and catch. But it's not unreasonable to think that perhaps switching all those positions has had an impact on him at the plate. Castano's first pitch splits the plate in half, strike one.
The major league comparison is a guy like Carlos Santana of the Cleveland Indians, who was tasked with playing third base for a lot of the early portion of his career. Then he started switching off between third and catcher, and it was just unreasonable to assume that he could do that and still maintain a very high batting average for his team. So they shifted him over to first, and then the power in his plate appearances really started to come around.
Again, McKinnon checked at first. McKinnon 1 for 3 in stolen base attempts this year. That's been another disappointing revelation for this Gatemen squad. Not very adept at stealing bases. The 0-1, an off-speed pitch, misses high to even up the count. Not that they haven't tried, mind you. It just seems like about half the time, especially in this losing skid that they've had over the past couple weeks, they've been thrown out more often than not.
They've been better for sure than many other teams in the Cape League, most notably the Cotuit Kettleers, who continue to shoot themselves in the foot by running and getting caught stolen on the base paths. The Gatemen haven't been anywhere near perfect, but definitely not in the upper portion of the league.
There are several adjustments that have to be made when playing in the Cape Cod Baseball League, and one of them is undoubtedly an adjustment of shorter pop times. Most of the catchers out here are pretty good at what they do, as the 2-1 is fouled off right side out of play. And if you're used to stealing stolen bases at, say, an 80% clip in college, you shouldn't be surprised if you see it drop down to 65 or 70 here.
Yeah, we've talked about this before, but a lot of the catchers come into their ball games with batting averages below 200. Why is that acceptable? Well, it's because they're wizards defensively. Tim Cisnera, we've seen Shortino for this Anglers team. They're nearly perfect.
Runner goes, foul tip. The throw goes right back to the mound. Kisner retired on a strikeout, but the foul tip enabling McKinnon to advance to second. A peculiar play is Aaron Barnett's throw looked like it might have slipped. Of course, having to deal with that foul tip throws a wrench in the works, but no chance to get McKinnon with the throw hitting Castano back on the mound.
Yeah, obviously that wasn't intentional, and in some situations, I think it's more of a high school baseball thing, but in first and third situations, you'll see the catcher fire a dart back to the pitcher on the mound. That obviously was not the case there, not intentional at all. His throw was meaning to go into second base. I think, as you said, it just slipped out of his hand and he hit his pitcher because of it.
Logan Sowers, another batter who's been fighting at the plate, but has a chance to redeem himself. He can get a hit to the outfield here. Takes a ball outside, 1-0.
Too many strikeouts is the name of the game for Logan Sowers right now. 15 in his last 11 starts, so putting the ball in play with authority will be a priority of his.
The 1-0 hits the outside corner to even up the count. The batting average very low at 169. Only one home run on the year, and that was in the first week of the season. He did miss some time for about a week, but the numbers speak for themselves. The 1-1 hit on the ground. Fair ball down the third base line. Long throw for short across the diamond in time to get Sowers and to end the inning. Gatemen get a runner to scoring position, but they fail to bring him home. We head to the top of the third. 2-0 Chatham on WCTV and the Cape Cod Baseball League Network. 2-0.
Oh, wait, they are.
The Anglers lead the Gatemen as we head to the top of the third inning. I'm Eric Bramer, joined by Jake Garcia and Megan O'Brien. 2, 3, and 4 due up for the Anglers against Sean Anderson, who gave up his first hit and his second run of the game back in the second inning. He's now faced 10 batters and retired 6 of them, but only 1 hit allowed. 2 walks and 1 hit by pitch.
I don't think they're sending it to me.
Trenton Brooks about to step into the box. Walked in the first inning and got as far as second. The streak of runners left in scoring position was extended to 10. 8 innings on Wednesday night, plus the first 2 tonight. The Anglers have left a runner in scoring position to end the inning. Whether that's a testament to clutch pitching or just luck is up to the viewer. Ball 1 misses outside to Brooks. Anderson takes a sign from Sierra and delivers. Just missing inside. The count is 2-0. Sean Anderson trying to avoid letting a leadoff hitter on again. High fastball challenged Brooks, and he got a piece, sending it back to the screen. Charlie Campbell behind home plate reminds everyone that the count is 2-1. As Sternagel comes in from third. Another high fastball. This one, Brooks comes up empty, and now the count 2-2. Interesting to see Sternagel charge in from normal position at third base, perhaps an intuition that Brooks was going to bunt. Alas, it was a full swing, and luckily for Sternagel, he came up empty. The 2-2 to Brooks, missing up and away, full count with Craig on deck. Anderson from the windup delivers the payoff pitch to Brooks. Fouled back to the screen our way. Another payoff pitch from Anderson. Brooks takes outside, ball 4. Third walk in 3 innings now for Anderson. He's having some command issues. Brooks is on board at first with nobody out for Will Craig, who grounded out to second and advanced both runners back in the first inning.
Looking at Sean Anderson's track record, it would not be right for us to call him an ace already, and that's, I think, what a lot of people were treating him as after the start against Bourne. The track record and the extensive innings really haven't been there yet, so for his command to be a little bit spotty shouldn't be anything of a surprise. Only made 14 appearances and only 1 start at Florida this past season, and then for the Gatemen, this is only his 2nd start, only his 4th outing of the entire year. He's trying to have his pitches come around, trying to find them, locate them in the zone, and it may not be there, and on any given night they may not be there for him. I think what he needs is just more innings under his belt, and the stuff is clearly there, as we've seen.
Called strike on the inner half to Craig, and now Anderson checking Brooks at first. Oh, 1 high and tight as Craig brought his chin in anticipation of a swing, then had to dart back to avoid the pitch.
So 3 walks already in this game for Sean Anderson, and now he gets a walk artist up at the plate in Will Craig. 21 walks this season, which is good for 2nd best in the entire league. I think the picture is pretty clear. Anderson's going to have to come into the zone for Craig to offer at anything.
Infield playing at normal depth. Middle infielders squeezed in a little bit. They'll try and turn a double play if they get the chance. Outfield is straight up. The 1-1 to Craig. Breaking pitch. Gets a called strike. It's 1-2. That is a slider, I believe. But it does have some looping action when it's left up in the zone. When it's down, it darts down. Almost looks like 2 different pitches from our vantage point. Again, Brooks checked back at first. Anderson steps off as Brooks took a very big lead, then unprompted raced back to the bag.
You saw both Gatemen middle infielders, Grand Prix and Caraviotas, kind of start their moves over towards second base in anticipation.
Now there is a move, and Brooks is sent back to first. Anderson checks Brooke at first. And the 1-2 to Craig. Low in the dirt. Nice stop by Sierra once again. If Sierra really is making strides behind the plate, he provides some interesting prospects for Major League Baseball teams. We haven't seen the power here in the Cape Cod Baseball League, but we've seen a high average, an ability to hit to the opposite field. And if he can complete that other facet of his game, his defense behind the plate, Be pretty interesting. Runner goes 2-2, fouled straight back. Anderson had an inkling that something was up, or at least one would assume he did after all those throws to first. Brooks, sure enough, did take off on the 2-2. Now we'll head back to first.
With the improvement of Sierra's catching package, something that comes along with that is an ability to improve his pop time and improve his success rate in throwing runners out on the base paths. That's something we haven't seen a whole lot of him.
2-2 to Craig. Hit a mile in the air, foul, left side. Sierra back for a look, and it hits off the top of the dugout. Count stays 2-2.
See the Chatham Anglers broadcaster, Dominic Catronio, leave his headset, go on top of the dugout, and then retrieve that foul ball.
Moment of truth. Is he going to keep it for himself or give it to a young fan? Oh, my.
We were on top of that dugout yesterday.
But he's keeping it for himself.
I don't blame him.
A selfish act. 2-2 to Craig. Just misses outside, 3-2. You would keep a foul ball if you got one?
Oh, of course.
There's a pouting little kid a few feet away from you.
There clearly was no pouting little kid over there, though, so I understand the move.
Just go with my narrative here.
Okay, if there were, then I'd be very tempted to give him that ball. Or her.
Brooks takes off. The payoff pitch. Sent in the air, foul right side this time. Craig hanging tough.
I should note, though, that the last time I caught a batting practice ball at a major league game was going into my junior year of high school. I gave that ball to a little kid, and I haven't caught one since.
All right. I do have the only game ball that I've ever caught. The 3-2 to Craig, missing inside. And back-to-back walks to begin the top half of the third inning. Now Jim Lawler out to have a chat.
22 walks on the season for Will Craig in now a little more than 3 games against the Gatemen. 5 walks against this Gatemen team. He has a very strong eye at the plate, even if the batting average doesn't scream a successful hitter.
I think we've gone over this, but you have caught a foul ball in a game, have you not?
No, I have not.
You have not.
The closest I've come was a home run ball hit into the Rockies bullpen at Coors Field. I then scampered over from my seats in right field to the edge of the cutoff between the seats and the bullpen, waited there for a few minutes, and got that ball thrown to me. It was not off the bat. I have caught ones off the bat in batting practice, but never officially in a game before.
All right.
There's always been a middleman, I guess.
Yeah. I have caught one. I brought my glove. It was Mother's Day 2010 off the bat of Denard Span. We have gone over this because I think we discussed this.
The value of bringing a glove to a baseball game. We've certainly discussed that.
Yeah. Aaron Barnett stepping to the plate, an RBI ground out to third in the first inning. Now a chance to drive in another run. First pitch misses low, again blocked by Sierra.
Up to this point, looks like the strategy of John Schiffner to hit not his hottest hitter, or rather not his most powerful hitter, but his hottest hitter in the 4 position paying off. Make that 2 times now that he's come up with runners on base.
Anderson's 1-0 to Barnett. Hit well, right field. Warren back. He has it measured on the warning track and puts it away. The lead runner will advance. No throw over to third. The way that ball sounded off the bat, I did not think Warren would have a play on it, but he does, just shy of the track. And now 1 down for Nate Mondu. We don't see too many home runs, or at least we haven't this year. That one looked to be about as good a chance as we've had in quite a while.
Yeah, I think just a little bit too much backspin on that ball, and normally backspin will propel it, but I think the backspin in this case kind of caused it to hang up in the air for a little bit. Warren was able to camp underneath and make the catch for the first out. Still, though, the danger is not averted. Mondu at the plate, first and third situation.
First pitch to Mondo, misses low, ball 1. Brooks at third, Craig at first, 1 down for the Anglers in the top half of the third. They have scored a single run in each of the first 2 innings, trying to continue that streak. Anderson looking for an inning-ending double play. The 1-0, hit off the end of the bat into shallow left field. It's going to drop. 1 run will score. Brooks into home. Craig on to second. And an RBI single for Nate Mondu. Anglers now lead 3-0.
Just some unfortunate luck there for Sean Anderson. He located the pitch well, and I think he even shadowed the bat of Mondu. But I guess just a better piece of hitting. It finds a gap. Grand Prix gave it a valiant effort over at short. I thought he was potentially going to lay out on that. Either way, I don't think he would have come away with the catch. So an RBI single for Mondu.
Early struggles continue for Sean Anderson, who came into this game not having allowed an earned run in the Cape League season. 3 already, trying to avoid further damage as Zach Short steps to the plate and takes strike 1. Short flew out to center, shallow center, in his first plate appearance. We can see an arm warming up in the bullpen. Looks like Blake Fox, the lefty, based on the silhouette. Anderson to the set, and delivering to Short. Roped down the left field line. It's a fair ball. Craig rounding third on his way home. Mondu into third. Now the cutoff and the throw to second not in time. An RBI double for Zach Short. Now a 4-0 lead.
A hanging breaking ball there from Sean Anderson, and Zach Short certainly did not miss it. He had been struggling up to this point against the Gatemen, one of the few Chatham anglers that hasn't seen the ball well against this team. But a hanging breaking ball there. He did not miss that one. Poked it down the left field line. More runners in scoring position and another run crossing the plate.
And that's going to mark the end of the day for Sean Anderson. He records 1 out in the 3rd inning. He's allowed 4 runs, and he's responsible for the 2 runners in scoring position. We'll have a pitching change, and when we come back, we will have more on presumably the left-hander Blake Fox. You're watching WCTV and the Cape Cod Baseball League Network. Back at Spillane Field, the score 4-0. We're now joined by the 3rd member of our broadcast team, Megan O'Brien, who has more on Blake Fox, the new pitcher for the Gatemen.
Thanks, guys. Blake Fox on the mound. We saw him the other day in YD, and his signature move is that pickoff move that we've talked about a lot in our broadcast, and he was called at YD for a balk. And after the game, I caught up with him and asked him, was it a balk? And he said, no, absolutely not. It's just he's worked on that pickoff move since high school. He's had some of the best mentoring and coaching to perfect that pickoff move. And he said in 3 years, it's only been called a balk 3 times. And he says he's going to continue to utilize that move and hope it gives his team some wins. Back to you guys.
Thank you, Megan. I was privy to that conversation as well. He said that those 3 times that it was called once in every year, so now he does not expect it to be called the rest of the Cape League season. He said he thinks he fooled the runner so badly, he also fooled the first base umpire as well. Fox has had a pretty good year for the Gatemen. There's no doubt about it. Coming into the game 2-0 with a 0.53 ERA, only 1 earned run allowed in 17 innings pitched. He's only struck out 10 batters during that time, but he's also only allowed 16 hits and 4 walks.
Yeah, he's a guy who relies on a lot of deception, induces a lot of weak contact, kind of like his other left-handed mate, Evan Hill. The two of them really navigate the outer portions of the strike zone. You don't have to be a successful pitcher and strike out a lot of batters, but you have to induce weak contact. That's exactly what Blake Fox does. Megan talked about his appearance against YD. It was a start. He threw 5 innings, did allow 6 hits, so more of the theme for this Gatemen team, allowing a lot of hits and base runners, but he stranded every single one of those runners, didn't allow any earned runs, and he lowered his ERA to .53 on the season.
After a moment of reflection, Fox assesses the situation that he finds himself in. Runners at 2nd and 3rd and 1 down for the 7-hitter Jake Fraley, who walked and scored back in the 2nd. Infield coming in after initially playing back. The first pitch roped and down for a hit to right field. Mondu will score easily. Short will be held up at the last second. The throw coming in and now going to the backstop. Blake Fox is there to back it up and keep the run from scoring, but in the process, Fraley advancing to 2nd. Another run comes in. It's 5-0 Chatham, still in the 3rd inning.
That run will be attributed to the line of Sean Anderson, so make that a total of 5 earned runs that he's allowed. The first pitch that Fraley saw was a hanging breaking ball from Fox, a lefty-on-lefty matchup, and Fraley looked like he was sitting on that, kept his hands and his weight back, and smashed that one into right.
Looked like an accurate throw from right from Charlie Warren, but he will be almost certainly credited with that error. It bounced on a hop and got past Sierra. Got past Fox, who was doing his job and backing up, but not a whole lot of time to react. Now Kyle Adams who bounced out to third with the infield still in. Takes a strike on the outside corner. So no progress made. Still runners second and third and one out. Another run in for the Anglers. And Fox trying desperately to stop the bleeding. Time is called at home plate. Official score says E2, so error on Sierra. The 0-1 misses outside. One of those plays where there's so much going on, everyone has their own interpretation, and should Sierra disagree with the error, he can always look back on our video archive and plead his case. But for the time being, error on Sierra, allowing Fraley to advance a second. 1-1 to Adams, missing outside 2-1. I beg your pardon, a late strike from Charlie Campbell. Fox doesn't mind that strike was late. It's a strike nonetheless, and now one more strike away from retiring Adams for out number 2. Here's the 1-2. Tapped foul, a double hit as it is sent back to the screen. The runner at third, Zach Short. Runner at second, Jake Fraley. 3 runs already in for the Anglers in the top of the third inning. Only 1 out, and that was a warning track fly deep to right field. Fox delivers the 1-2. Hit shallow left field. It's going to drop for another hit. Short comes in from third. Fraley on to third. And Kyle Adams with an RBI single, the 4th straight run-producing hit for the Anglers, and the score now 6-0.
There's no batted ball velocity in the Cape Cod League, but I'd venture to say that quite a few of these Chatham hits are well below the league average in terms of that department. We've seen it in Game 2 of this series. The big loss to this team, 13-6 was the final score. I want to say a total of 4 infield singles, and in this inning alone, quite a few Texas leaguers, duck snorts, whatever you want to call them, have been translating into runs for this team. Really not the fault of Blake Fox. He's made good pitches, but there Adams just finding a hole once again.
The book is now closed on Sean Anderson. Allowed 6 earned runs in 2 1/3 innings. He walked 4 and did not strike out a batter. With Hampson at the plate, Fox uses that pickoff move to keep Adams close at first. First pitch from Fox, broken bat, hit weakly to second. On to second for 1, Grand Prix's throw to first is not in time. A run-producing out from Garrett Hampson. Fraley comes in from third, and now the score 7-0 Anglers.
Hampson will be credited with an RBI there. He beat out that throw. It was softly hit enough, and then Karaviotis looked like he had trouble getting it out of his glove and onto Grand Prix at short. Didn't allow his shortstop enough time to make a strong throw to first, and Hampson beats it out.
That run is going to be charged to Blake Fox, just the second he's been given all year. Now the lineup turns over, and the 9th man to bat this inning, Kyle Brooks, the leadoff hitter.
Worth pointing out, though, that run, I believe, is unearned because Fraley reached second on an error from Sierra.
Contingent upon what happens in this at bat. Strike 1 hits the outside corner. If Brooks singles, then the assumption is that Fraley would have scored anyway. The 0-1. Ripped foul down the third base line. Another disappointing game thus far for the Gatemen. And surprisingly, it's the pitching that has failed them tonight.
Still, though, can't win a ball game by not scoring any runs, and the Gatemen haven't given them any run support up to this point.
Still plenty of game left. Should Fox get out of this jam and Gatemen chip away at the deficit. Runner goes, the 0-2, hit in the air, right side. Shallow right field, Warren coming in, and he puts it away for out number 3. But the Anglers bat 9 and score 5 in the top half of the third. And the score now is 7-0 over the Gatemen. You're watching WCTV and the Cape Cod Baseball League Network. 7-0 Anglers lead the Gatemen as we head to the home half of the third inning. Eric Bremer joined by Jake Garcia and Megan O'Brien. 8-9-1 due up for the Gatemen as they try and chip away at this deficit.
Tongue-in-cheek here, of course, but a few streaks ended in that game or in that past inning. Noteworthy things that didn't happen. A runner in scoring position was not stranded, so the Gatemen did a relatively good job in not allowing even more damage to be inflicted onto them. Also, I guess it kind of depends on your definition of the term batting around, but I'm going to say the Chatham Anglers did not bat around in that last inning. That would have been the third time in the 2+ games now against these Gatemen that the Anglers batted around.
Ball one misses low to John Sternagel. Sternagel on the year batting .167. 6 hits in 36 at-bats. One of them for extra bases. It was a double and 2 runs batted in. Lined into right center field, down for a hit. We'll see if Sternagel presses his luck, and nope, he'll stay at first with a leadoff single. That's the way things start, or at least that's the mindset you have to have if you're in the Gatemen dugout. 1 hit at a time, and now Preston Grand Prix, the 9-hitter, coming to the plate, trying to keep things going.
That's the first base hit for the Gatemen against the Anglers in the last 7 innings. Recall from last game, the Gatemen strung together 5 hits in the first 4 innings of that game, had at least 1 in every single inning. Then innings 5 through 9 didn't record a base hit. That was largely the result of poor plate appearances, weak groundouts, and then the first 2 innings of this game extended that no-hit streak up to 7 innings.
First pitch to Grand Prix. Looks like he thought about bunting, instead taking it high, ball 1. On the air, Grand Prix, like Sternagel, batting .167, but in 66 at-bats rather than 36. Hit down the right field line, twisting foul, and it's 1-1. We've seen plenty of him in the game, and we've seen plenty of him in the cage. I'm not sure where Grand Prix's power is, if he has any. I would assume it's pull power, but in the past couple games we've seen him drive some foul down the right field line. The 1-1 is very high. Goes to the backstop. A wild pitch on Castano advances Sternagel to second.
Incoming text message from one of the Chatham Anglers broadcasters. We talked a little bit about them batting around against the Gatemen. Well, that was the 8th time in their last 14 games that they brought at least 9 batters to the plate. So it's not only against the Gatemen that they're having success. This is a team that's coming into this game winners of 6 of their last 8, and you can see why, putting together extremely well-rounded at-bats in the batter's box.
The 2-1 to Grand Prix, missing outside, 3-1 with the dangerous Kalika on deck. Castano being given the ultimate gift, a 7-run cushion. He only needs to get through the 5th to get a win. 3-1, again sent foul right side, out of play, and the count runs full. Not that Castano is only concerned about getting a win for himself, but we've seen pitchers frustrated because they've been taken out after 4 1/3, 4 2/3. In a league where stats matter, wins are important. The 3-2 hit on a line to the second baseman Kyle Brooks. Plays it on a hop and throws on to first. Grand Prix's out number 1, but in the process, Sternagel advances to third.
Stats matter, yes, but I hope people looking at stats don't place too much weight on the stat of a win. Kind of like a save, it's one that fluctuates in terms of how your offense is doing, and not one that's super indicative of success. Look at Clayton Kershaw this season. People talk about how he lost 3 games in a row at one point. Well, there's another story, too. His ERA was also below 2 at that point, striking out more batters than throwing innings. So there's another story aside from just wins.
Similar to with the offensive statistic, runs batted in. As that one hit off the glove of Castano, he's going to throw home well in time to get Sternagel. A risky proposition by John Sternagel trying to go home on that pitch, that hit that was deflected off the glove of Castano. Kalika reaches on a fielder's choice. He's at first, but a botched opportunity for the Gatemen as they try and push across their first run.
Yeah, not good base running there from John Sternagel. He's only going on the play if that ball gets past the pitcher. Maybe he thought after the deflection it was going to ricochet further off of him, but Castano batted that ball right to himself and then had plenty of time, got Sternagel out at the plate by 2-3 steps.
We will see if Kalika tries to steal himself into scoring position. Charlie Warren at the plate.
Also worth pointing out that before this game, Daniel Castano had a lot of issue in fielding his position. Talking with the Anglers broadcasters before the game, they said there were multiple occasions in which he failed to bounce off the mound and field his position, collect himself, throw on to first, but some good reflexes there for the left-hander.
The lefty Castano steps off and throws over to first. Kalika's back safely. The reason I suggest that Kalika might take off here is because despite Warren's increased batting average over the recent days, he does not have a whole lot of gap-to-gap or extra base power. In that way, he's like pretty much everyone else on this Gateman roster. But you'd rather have Kalika at second, so only one single could get a run across. Kalika is frozen at first on a deceptive move. Castano delivers a pitch inside to the plate. It's 1-0.
Stealing a base against a left-handed pitcher is both a blessing and a curse. If you go on first movement and guess right, it becomes a really easy stolen base.
The 1-0 dropping down to bunt. It's a good one down the third base line. Third baseman Short has it, and the throw goes low and down the right field line. Kalika on his way to third. He's going to be held. And an interesting move by Cooper Ferris holding the speedy Kalika when that ball was still down the right field corner. It's going to be an infield single and an error on the third baseman Zach Short, allowing Warren to advance to second and Kalika on to third.
Yeah, Cooper Ferris wasn't really definitive in what he was giving his base runner. Wasn't giving the stop sign, also wasn't waving him in. He left it up to his runner, but that's not a play for his runner to make that decision with his back turned to the baseball. He has no idea what's going on behind him. So I guess better safe than sorry, but I think if he sends Kalika all the way there with no hesitation, he can score.
Mark Caraviotis stepping up.
Still, though, the Gatemen need base runners, and one run on third base isn't going to win them this ball game.
First pitch to Caraviotis, missing inside ball one. It should be noted that the Gatemen already did make an out at home plate earlier on in this inning, so perhaps an explanation for the tentative decision. Now the count 2-0 to Caraviotis. The runner at second, Warren. The runner at third, Kalika. Gatemen trying to push across the first run of the game here against the Anglers. Castano comes to a set and delivers the 2-0 to Caraviotis, low, and now 3-0 with the dangerous Nick Sierri on deck. If you're Caraviotis, you're probably sitting fastball if you're swinging at all. He is not given the green light on a pitch right down the middle. It's a strike, and it's now 3-1. Castano comes to a set and delivers the 3-1 to Caraviotis. Hit in the air, right side. Behind first base, Kyle Adams has it measured. Now drifting back into fair territory, he puts it away. So the Gatemen get two runners in scoring position, but once again fail to score. We head to the top of the fourth inning. 7-0 Anglers over the Gatemen on WCTV and the Cape Cod Baseball League Network. It's a 7-0 game. Chatham Anglers lead the Wareham Gatemen as we head to the top of the fourth inning. Eric Bramer joined by Jake Garcia and Megan O'Brien. Blake Fox and the Gatemen will try and hold the Anglers scoreless for the first inning tonight. It'll be 2, 3, and 4, the same hitters that began the third inning, in which the Anglers eventually scored 5 runs. Trenton Brooks stepping into the box. He is 0 for 0 today, 2 plate appearances, both of them walks. In the third inning, he came around to score the third run of the game for the Anglers. Fox finally pitching from the windup, delivers a first pitch strike that sent foul and out of play left side. Remember that Fox came in with runners at second and third and 1 out in the third inning. He gave up 2 singles and a fielder's choice to bring in 3 runs. One of them was his own. It was an unearned run, but an unenviable task to come into that. The 0-1, a half swing. It's a strike anyway. That's a strike that gets called in a 7-0 ball game. Fox shakes off his catcher Sierra, now delivers the 0-2, again sent foul out of play left side.
The Gatemen will be happy to see the Chatham Anglers depart after this game. This is their 4th and final contest against this Anglers team. All told, they'll only have 4 more games against the Eastern Division, 9 against the West, and for the Gatemen in those 4 games, 2 of them come against Harwich, the last place team in the East. So things do get a little bit easier from here. Still, though, it's tough to win ball games when you're not playing well, even against bad teams. So they'll definitely need to turn something around. Things need to start clicking at the same time. The pitching needs to be on when the hitting's on.
The 1-2, a foul tip into the dirt. But before it hits the dirt, Sierra catches it, so it's a strikeout from Trenton Brooks, and now 1 down for Will Craig. That's the first time that an Angler batter has struck out so far tonight. First time that Brooks has been retired as well. Now Craig, who's 0 for 1, he walked and scored back in the third inning. First pitch swinging, ropes it down the left field line. It is a fair ball into the corner. Rounding first on his way to second, Sowers up with a throw. It's into the cutoff man, a stand-up double for Will Craig. And another runner in scoring position for the Anglers.
Number 47, the catcher, Aaron Barnett from Pepperdine.
Now Aaron Barnett, 0 for 2 on the day, but he did drive in a run, the game's first run back in the first inning, on a ground out to third. Chance to drive in another with Craig standing at second and 1 down.
What does it say to you when you're down by 7 runs and the team's hottest hitter hasn't even been on base yet? That's not a good sign for the Gatemen, but I guess they've cooled down Barnett a little bit.
Hit on a line to second, and it gets through Karaviotis. Craig rounding third on his way home. There will be no throw. A hard hit ball. Not sure whether it will be a hit or an error. It's going to be a base hit. A play that Karaviotis will tell you he should have made. But an RBI single by Aaron Barnett, now 8-0 Anglers.
I really think the only shot for Karaviotis there is to read that ball immediately as a line drive and then charge in and field it, catch it in the air instead of trying to deal with that wicked short hop that he had to experience. That's the right call. Can't give an error on a ball that difficult.
Now Nate Mondu. Mondu on the day, 1 for 2, an RBI single back in the third inning. First, a check of Barnett at first, and he's back safely.
This is where Blake Fox's pickoff move doesn't really do his team a whole lot of good. Down by 8 runs, I think the focus should just be on the batters instead of trying for deception and picking someone off.
Slow breaking pitch, splits the plate in half. It's 0-1.
I guess in a roundabout sense, though, that is what makes Blake Fox successful against batters, lulling them to sleep by pickoff move after pickoff move, and never being fully aware as a hitter if he's coming to you.
The 0-1, nice diving stop by McKinnon, throwing a second in time for 1 out. They get the lead runner, no chance for Mondu at first. But out number 2 comes on the base paths. Mondu grounds into a fielder's choice.
Number 16, the third baseman.
Score that 3-6, McKinnon to Grand Prix. Now with 2 down, Zach Short stepping up. 1 for 2 on the day, an RBI double in the last inning, his last at bat.
Everyone getting in on the action for this Chatham Anglers team. Short came into this game, 5 strikeouts in 3 games against the Gatemen, and instead notches an RBI double, something that has been hard to come by for both of these teams. Not for the Anglers hitters tonight, though.
First pitch misses low. Might have had a chance to be called a strike, but Sierra dropped it. It's 1-0. Fox doesn't like the feel of that baseball, and he requests a new one. I've always been dumbfounded by that. Why pitchers would voluntarily swap out baseballs after they've been scuffed up. The 1-0 to short. Tapped on the ground, foul towards the Angler dugout. The friction on a ball is what gives it its movement. And when you're given a ball that has a nice scuff on it, that's a blessing, is it not?
I think it's only on the seams, though, because that's what generates the movement. You're not going to benefit at all from a scuff on the middle of a baseball, the sweet spot of it, because that's not where you're gripping it and pressing it with your fingers.
Ripped down the third base line. Nice play by Sternagel. The throw is high, and it drags McKinnon off the bag. Short evades the tag, which is probably the most spectacular part of that play, by a head-first slide into first base. Usually that's not advisable, but this time it might have gotten him an infield single.
Yeah, McKinnon was coming down with the ball and trying to apply the tag. If he's standing up there, he may get him on the helmet, but a heads-up move from short sliding into first base, now his second hit of the game.
An on-target throw gets him, but that's an infield single. Or at least that was my gut feeling when I first saw it. First pitch to Jake Fraley hits the outside corner, strike one. Do you think that was a single or an error?
I wrote it down in my book as a single. Sternagel really deep in that third base hole. I don't think you can assume that he makes that play on normal circumstances.
0-1, right down the middle, and it's 0-2. Not sure why Fraley was taking there, perhaps expecting a different pitch. Fox has already allowed a run here in the 4th inning, but trying to avoid any more trouble. He's a pitch away from getting out of it. The 0-2 to Fraley, chopped up the first base line. It's going to bounce foul. Looked like it got a tough hop in the grass there and bounced foul. The runner at second is Montu. The runner at first, Zach Short. Jake Fraley at the plate. 1 for 1 on the day. He has an RBI single and 2 runs scored. Trying to add to an already impressive ledger this evening. The 0-2 from Fox. On the outside corner, strike 3 looking. So Fox gets a strikeout to bookend the 4th inning. He gets Brooks to begin it and Fraley to end it. We head to the bottom half of the 4th inning. 8-0 Anglers over the Gatemen on WCTV and the Cape Cod Baseball League Network. Eight 0 Anglers over the Gatemen as we head to the bottom of the 4th inning. Eric Bramer joined by Jake Garcia and Megan O'Brien. It'll be 4, 5, and 6 for the Gatemen, who have had their chances to get back into this game, particularly in the 3rd inning, but just haven't come through.
Yeah, in that 3rd inning, they stranded a pair of base runners, both in scoring position. Karaviotis needs to be picked up at the plate because he's been putting pro at-bat after pro at-bat together, stringing a bunch of quality ones in a row. He had a good one in the first when he hit a ground ball sharply, but ended that 3rd inning with 2 runners aboard, a lazy pop out to the first baseman.
An out was made at the plate as well as John Sternagel was thrown out trying to advance and a ground ball back to the pitcher. First pitch misses high to Nick Sierra, who was hit by a pitch in the 2nd inning. Sierra got some pitches on the inner half of the plate in that first at-bat, which was something that we haven't seen a whole lot of this year. Most of his hits have come to the opposite field. Ball 2 misses high, and now we'll see what he's given in a hitter's count.
Sierra on the season has a total of 18 hits. 15 of them have gone to the opposite field.
Only 1 of them for extra bases. 2-0 from Castano. High fastball, and he sent it straight back to the screen.
How do we know that? Because the great services of Point Street give us spray charts. I'm always a fan of trying to keep that stuff in my scorebook, but because of the broadcast grind and the game paying attention to everything that happens, it's unreasonable to fit all of that into a scorebook.
2-1 on the outer half of the plate is sent foul, left side and out of play. Now 2-2. Sierra was telling Cooper Ferris, I want to pull the ball more. What can I do to pull the ball more? And then Cooper Ferris told Nick, well, where are you getting your pitches? Outer half, outer half, outer half. He's been doing a good job getting those hits as he sends one foul out of play, left side again. But it's tough to be ready for those inside pitches when all you're seeing all season is stuff on the outer half of the plate. Castano from the windup takes the side and readies the 2-2. Sierra swung on and missed. Fastball right down the middle that he did not make contact with. So Sierra out number 1 here in the bottom of the 4th. That'll bring up David McKinnon.
Playing devil's advocate, though, if you look at his spray chart, and a lot of these scouts can't come to the game, so they may look at his spray chart and not see where he's being pitched. What does a bunch of balls of the opposite field tell you? Probably a slow bat head. So they're going to come in with some preconceived notions already of Sierra, and then they may judge for themselves and see otherwise, but it's always tough when you've been pitched a certain way.
First pitch swinging is David McKinnon. He sends out a routine fly to center field. Jake Fraley puts it away for out number 2. That'll bring up Andrew Kisner. Struck out swinging his first time up.
Number 6, the designated hitter, Andrew Kisner from NC State.
Gatemen surrendered single runs in the first and second inning, a big 5 spot in the third, and one more in the top of the 4th. First pitch to Kisner. Hit foul right side out of play. Castano goes to the rosin bag. He has had very little to stress about in his outing so far. 3 runners left on base, 2 of them in the third. But most of his pitches have come with a 7 or 8 run lead. The 0-1 to Kisner, missing outside 1-1. Castano back with a 1-1 to Kisner, missing high 2-1. Throughout Kisner's struggles, one thing that has not changed is his plate discipline. I think it's safe to say that Kisner has been swinging at pitches in the zone and taking pitches out of the zone for the most part. 2-1, a majestic fly ball to left field, but Mondu barely has to move. He puts it away. And 1-2-3 go the Gatemen in the bottom half of the 4th inning. We head to the top of the 5th. Still 8-0 Chatham over Wareham on WCTV and the Cape Cod Baseball League Network. Eight nothing Anglers over the Gatemen as we head to the top of the 5th inning. Eric Bramer joined by Jake Garcia and Megan O'Brien. Blake Fox beginning his second full inning of work, trying to give the Anglers an inning without a run for the first time in this game. It'll be 8-9-1 due up for Chatham. Kyle Adams, Garrett Hampson, and Kyle Brooks. Anglers have scored 1 in the first, 1 in the second, 5 in the third, and 1 more in the 4th to go along with a bunch of zeros on the bottom half of the scoreboard for the Gatemen. Adams stepping to the plate, 1 for 2 on the day. RBI single back in the 3rd inning. Fox winds and delivers. First pitch sent down the first base line. Nice diving stop by McKinnon. Takes it to the bag himself. Sterling defensive play from David McKinnon, out number 1.
And a sterling defensive effort from McKinnon tonight over at first base, showcasing that
range that he has that makes him really a plus defender. Remember, he plays outfield at Hartford, so he's a first baseman who's more athletic than your prototypical first baseman, flashing the leather there for the second time this game, going down to his knees and making the play.
Now Garrett Hampson, 1 for 2 on the day, but 2 runs batted in one each in his plate appearances, an RBI single in the second, and an RBI fielder's choice in the third. Ball 1 misses. Fox shakes off Sierra twice, now delivers the 1-0 high, ball 2. To Hampson, missing low, 3-0 with the leadoff hitter Kyle Brooks on deck.
The Gatemen have not had a 1-2-3 inning against the Chatham Anglers, going back not to the last time they faced, but to the second matchup of the season in the 5th inning. And just like that, after they got the leadoff runner out, a base runner here with 1 out, so extend the streak even further.
Hampson takes first on a walk. That'll bring up Kyle Brooks, already making his 4th plate appearance in the 5th inning. 0 for 2 in 3 trips to the plate. He was hit by a pitch in the first and came around to score the game's first run. Fox checks back the runner at first. Hampson's in safely. That hit by pitch on the first pitch of the game kind of set the tone for both teams. Anglers continued to get runners on base, and the Gatemen struggled to pitch on the mound. Another pickoff move, and Fox isn't fooling anyone here tonight. But that's perhaps because with an 8-run lead, the Anglers aren't too aggressive stealing bases.
And their movements are always going to be back. You can see Hampson over there with hardly a lead at all. And as soon as Fox picks up his foot, he's already leaning back in the direction of first base. It's pretty much station to station right now, and I don't blame them with an 8-run lead.
First pitch misses wide to Kyle Brooks, and 5 straight balls for the lefty Fox. Looks like someone's on the bump in the Gatemen bullpen. A right-handed pitcher, though in this light we can't make it out. About an hour ago when Fox was warming up, we could see the 34 on the back of his red jersey, but can't tell anymore now that the sun has gone down.
There was the sabotager of our pregame open.
Yeah, not a huge fan of Gary Gatemen right now. 1-0. High fly ball down the left field line in foul territory. Grand Prix, the shortstop, has it measured and he puts it away. Score at FF6. Hampson tags back at first but does not advance, now 2 down. If you don't know, we do a live open about 15 minutes before first pitch on every video broadcast. And it's a live open, which means we don't have a second chance to do it. If we screw up, if we flub a line, if we do something else, we just have to roll with it. And I don't know if Gary Gatemen knew that or not. If he did know it, that's even more despicable. But blowing bubbles in our face and actually touching us, touching me more than you, because I think I've established an antagonistic relationship with the Gatemen mascot.
Yeah, that's probably safe to say. You mentioned Kyle Brooks getting hit by a pitch to set the tone of the ball game. That's not what set the tone. Gary Gatemen just completely sabotaging our pregame opens what set the tone. If the team saw that, they're like, our broadcasters can't even take us seriously anymore, which is entirely not the case. We are doing our best to give our viewers everything they need to know about the Gatemen. Gary Gatemen, though, obviously has other ideas, and even baseball aside, we're working on trying to improve ourselves and working on compiling footage for potential reels. That's certainly one you probably can't use anymore. And we're talking about you, guy. That camera right now is pointing out to the left field bleachers, and it's safe to say those are pretty much the only 3 people over in the left field bleachers. Everyone else is far away as they can possibly get from Gary Gatemen.
Gary Gatemen's advances are being spurned. He thinks that there's no one watching him up in the top row of the left field bleachers, but no, we have a camera on him, and a little icky, to tell you the truth. 2-2, a check swing. He did not go, and Sierra stops it. Count runs full.
I guess that's what rejection feels like. We've all been there, Gary,
yeah.
But you brought this on yourself.
Bringing back very unpleasant memories of my high school days, but 3-2, ripped over the head of John Sternagel down the third base line. It's a single with 2 down for Trenton Brooks. The inning continues. Now runners at first and second and 2 down for Will Craig.
Sternagel timed his jump there properly, just didn't have the extra few inches of wingspan to come away with that ball. Now again, a runner in scoring position for the Anglers.
Craig's had a pretty good night. 1 for 2 on the day, a walk, a double, and 2 runs scored. First pitch from Fox, misses low, ball 1. Gary Gatemen. I would have a little bit more empathy if he hadn't done what he did in the open, and now trying to be consoled as ball 2 misses low. You can see Gary Gatemen, the scene unfolding from that wide shot, kind of establishing a time and place, and you wonder if Gary's saying anything right now. The '1 rule for mascots is to not say anything, but hard to verbalize your feelings for someone without actually verbalizing it. 2-0, an off-speed pitch floats in and hits the inner half. It's 2-1. We were told by a member of the Gatemen front office that Gary Gatemen was initially meant to look like a mischievous Johnny Damon. And while I don't exactly see that as the 2-1 is fouled off back to the screen, 2-2, I definitely get the mischievous part, because there's been a lot of mischief that has taken place with the mascot.
I wonder if the Johnny Damon inspiration was prior to or after his conversion over to the Yankees, because then it would inspire some I guess, unfavorable characteristics in terms of his facial features, going from the Red Sox to the Yankees, of course. If he were on the Red Sox, though, then I'd anticipate them to portray him a little bit more flatteringly.
2-2 misses outside, and the count runs full. Hampson and Brooks will take off early. (3-2) from Fox. Strike 3 looking, as Craig was on his way to first base. So the Anglers, for the first time all evening, do not score. We head to the bottom of the 5th inning. Still 8-0 Chatham over Wareham on WCTV and the Cape Cod Baseball League Network. 8-0 Anglers over the Gatemen as we head to the bottom of the 5th inning. Eric Bramer joined by Jake Garcia and Megan O'Brien. 7, 8, 9 to up against Daniel Castano, who just needs to get through these 3 batters, get 3 more outs in order to qualify for the win. We have a defensive change. Jake Fraley is out in center field, and in is Joey Rodriguez, making his first appearance of the year for the Anglers. Senior out of Wake Forest.
This Chatham Anglers team is one that possesses quite a few guys from Wake Forest. Anticipate the ties with the coaching staff over there are mighty strong between John Schiffner and company, but Craig's from Wake Forest, as is Nate Mondu, so make that Wake Forest guy number 3 that we've seen today in Joey Rodriguez.
Logan Sowers in the box, takes a ball, then swings at a strike. It's 1-1. Sowers, his first time up, grounded out to third base. Average going down beneath the Mendoza line. The 1-1 from Castano, sent foul out of play right side. Looks like Gary Gatemen is gone from the left field bleachers. He was turned down by a young lady sitting out in the stands. I'm not sure whether or not that was breaking the fourth wall of mascotry, but there's clear the disappointment on Gary's face. Count now 2-2 to Sowers. Smooth sailing from Castano all night as the 2-2 is sent foul right side. He's been pitching out of the windup for most of this evening, and he has a peculiar delivery from the windup. He brings both of his hands up above his left shoulder. We will see it here in a moment. Parallel to his head, then keeps it there until he breaks and delivers to the plate. This time he delivers a fastball in the inside corner, strike 3 looking, and Sowers is retired for out number 1 in the 5th. Another strikeout for Logan Sowers.
It's kind of odd that we haven't seen that form of a delivery before, because if you think about it in complete layman's terms, it's a very simple move. He gets his hands right where he is as soon as he separates bare hand and glove. So in a sense, his hands don't move at all. He just moves his lower body to generate momentum, I guess. But if you're a relief pitcher making the transition to starter, which he is doing in his early years at Baylor, he was a relief pitcher, I guess that's the simplest way to do it.
Breaking pitch misses outside for ball 1 to John Sternagel, who has one of the 2 hits for the Gatemen this evening. It was a single to lead off the 3rd inning. He got as far as third base, then was cut down trying to score on a hard smash off the glove of the pitcher Castano. The 1-0 sent foul. It was what we deemed to be a base-running mistake by Sternagel, but we don't know what he was being told by Cooper Ferris in the third base coach's box. Usually in that case, especially with a 7-run deficit, you're going if that pitch, that ball, gets past the pitcher's mound. 1-1 roped on a couple hops. The third baseman short. He has trouble with it. The throw on to first, though, in time to get Sternagel by a step, out number 2. Now Preston Grand Prix, 0 for 1 on the day. He grounded out to second back in the 3rd inning.
Number 12, the shortstop, Preston Grand Prix from California.
Gatemen have been retired in order twice in 4 innings so far tonight. Grand Prix trying to avoid making it 3.
See Grand Prix with his long sleeves on. I asked him a while back, why do you sport the long sleeves in the middle of summer? And his answer was really interesting and kind of funny. He said, because look at me with long sleeves. I don't look like an imposing threat in the batter's box with long sleeves on. Instead, I anticipate getting fastball after fastball after fastball because I don't look intimidating with long sleeves. He said if I wore no sleeves at all, only jersey covering the top portion of his arms, he thinks he would look more intimidating and would receive fewer fastballs.
2-0 is fouled off. I think that's just a California kid trying to mask the fact that he's cold out here in the summer, like you are.
That's actually a very good point and something I hadn't thought about before. That very well could be it. See, he's not willing to admit that he's freezing all the time, whereas I'm just embracing it at this point.
A wave and a miss on a low fastball. It's now 2-2. Should Grand Prix reach, Andrew Kalika would step to the plate. He's 0 for 2 on the day, but he's by far Wareham's best hitter. The 2-2 to Grand Prix. Hit in the air, right field, routine for Trenton Brooks if he can see it in the night sky. He has it measured, and he squeezes it for out number 3. 1-2-3 go the Gatemen in the bottom half of the 5th inning. We head to the top of the 6th. Still 8-0 Chatham over Wareham on WCTV and the Cape Cod Baseball League Network. An 8-0 lead for the Chatham Anglers over the Wareham Gatemen as we head to the top of the 6th inning. Eric Bramer joined by Jake Garcia and Megan O'Brien. Tom Crane heading down to the Gatemen dugout to check on the bonfire down the right field corner. These are the things that we resort to in an 8-run game. Tom Crane putting on a pretty impressive show yesterday in the employee softball game, the first annual employee softball game. I'm waiting for you to compliment me on how well I performed in that game.
You've been tooting your own horn quite a bit, so I'm not going to give you that satisfaction once again. You called yourself the Mike Trout of that game.
4 for 4.
Let's pump the brakes a little bit.
2 home runs and 2 singles. 3 runs batted in.
Let's be clear to our viewers that one of those home runs was a nub shot back to the pitcher's mound.
2 hopper. McKinnon has trouble with it, but Fox there to the bag and recorded the out, 3-1.
I am not touting my offensive performance in that game whatsoever.
You couldn't even hold on to the bat.
I know. It was a drop 12 bat that felt like a toothpick in my hand, and first pitch I saw, fouled it off, and off went the bat with it. It only happened once, though.
Now, just to clarify further, while one of my home runs did not leave the infield, the first one absolutely did. It was a frozen rope down the right field line. Had we been playing on the softball field of the celebrity softball game at the All-Star game, we almost certainly would have seen me rounding the bases in a jog. Nate Mondu, 1 for 3 on the day, an RBI single back in the 3rd inning.
New catcher in the game for the Gatemen, it's Max Siebert, relieving Nick Sierra of catching duties here in the top of the 6th inning.
That's the position that concerns me the most on this Gateman squad, because Jarrett Reinflesch, who had been, for all intents and purposes, an everyday catcher, is now injured. Hit to the left center field gap. Kalika's throw into second is not in time. Looked like the throw was there, but the tag by Karaviotis did not get Mondu, and he's in with a 1-out double. About as good of a throw as you can ask for from Kalika in left center field, but Mondu slides in safely for his 2nd hit of the game, and now yet another runner in scoring position for the Anglers.
Obviously the second base umpire there, which on that given play was Sparky Burns, had a better angle at it than we did, so I think it must have been Karaviotis' tag that must have whiffed on the sliding Mondu. Because, yeah, you're right, the throw from Kalika was on the money, and there at the base well before Mondu slid in.
Zach Short is officially 1 for 3 on the day. He had an RBI double in the 3rd. Then in his last plate appearance, he reached on what we initially thought was an infield single, but then was ruled an error on the 3rd baseman, John Sternagel. A nice play with Grand Prix firing a bullet across and McKinnon stretching to get the speedy Short out number 2 as Mondu advances to 3rd.
I was channeling my inner Preston Grand Prix in the softball game yesterday.
Yes, you were, and I was catching most of them. I think the fact that both of us were on the same team, along with our MLB scout liaison, Brian Shropshire, who played baseball at a post-high school level, might have made the scales a bit unbalanced, so to speak.
Yeah, baseball is more of a team sport than individual effort, but whenever you put 3 former high school baseball players on a team against middle-aged to upper-aged adults.
Yeah, a couple octogenarians there last night.
I think we stand a pretty good chance.
Chopped to Sternagel. He has another chance at it. The throw on to first is in time to get Rodriguez, the pinch hitter, by a step. And that'll do it for the Anglers in the 6th. They get a runner to 3rd, but do not score. We head to the bottom half of the inning. Gatemen trying to push their first run across. It's 8-0 on WCTV and the Cape Cod Baseball League Network. 8-0 Anglers over the Gatemen as we head to the bottom of the 6th inning. Eric Bramer joined by Jake Garcia and Megan O'Brien. It'll be the top of the order for the Gatemen, 1, 2, and 3, Kalika, Warren, and Karaviotis, as they try and push the first run of the game across the board. There is a new pitcher on the mound for the Chatham Anglers, and it's Carl Burdick, someone we've seen a little bit of recently. The ERA a bit inflated, but this is a perfect situation to bring a guy like this in.
Yeah, looking to de-inflate that ERA. He'll oppose the top portion of the Gateman order after his starter, Daniel Castano, went 5 innings of scoreless baseball, only giving up 2 hits, both of those hits coming back in the 3rd inning. A fantastic outing for Castano, and really his task wasn't that difficult after his team staked him out a 7-run lead in the third inning. All he had to do was be in the strike zone, and he would probably find some success. So now he's in line for what would be his second win of the season. All told for Castano, 3 strikeouts of his 65 pitches, 39 of them were strikes.
Kalika stepping in 0 for 2 on the day. He reached on a fielder's choice in the third inning and got as far as third base. Squares to bunt, then pulls it back, takes a strike on the outside corner, 0-1. We were discussing just a moment ago the employees softball game that took place last night at Spillane Field. As the 0-1 to Kalika is hit in the air, foul, left side, back, and out of play, 0-2. We were, by a wide margin, the youngest people there. There were some octogenarians. I overheard someone ask if there was any linseed oil available to put on his glove. The same person remarked that he had never seen a metal bat before. 0-2. In on the hands, but hit well out to left center field. Routine, though, for Mondu, who squeezes it for out number 1. So Kalika hitless in his last 7 trips to the plate. Quite the oddity for a guy who 48 hours ago was nearing 500 with his batting average.
It was bound to come down eventually, and the one thing the Gatemen can't have in their recent struggles is to have their best hitters stop hitting. I think it's pretty clear that the Gatemen aren't as bad as they have been playing. If they lose this game, they'll drop to 1-9 in their last 10 games. They're at one end of the extreme right now. They're not as bad as this, but I also don't think they're as good as they were playing in the early portion in which their run differential was plus 30. Somewhere in between is this team that hopefully will come around to form once the end of the season hits and once playoffs start.
Again, Burdick jams a left-handed batter. This time Charlie Warren sends it weakly out to short. Garrett Hampson puts it away with a chest-high catch. Quickly 2 down for the Gatemen here in the bottom half of the 6th.
I think it's important to note that given the fabric of Cape Cod baseball, it's more difficult than it usually is to get out of a rut like this. The very nature, hitters swinging more often at first pitches, pitchers being aces, playing every single day, no chance to stop, take a break, get your mind right, work on things. They're more likely to continue this losing streak than they would be in your average form of baseball.
Ball 1 misses high to Mark Karaviotis, 0 for 2 on the day. Swings through an off-speed pitch to even up the count at 1-1.
It's the same exact reason why you see teams in this Eastern Division pull off long winning streaks in a row. Orleans has won their past 4. YD has won their past 5. Harwich has lost their past 5 games. Streakiness and Cape Cod baseball are pretty much synonymous, and it's not something you see a lot of in any other form of baseball. It's just something the Gatemen have to deal with, and it'll take a lot of effort for them to pull themselves out of this.
The 1-2 from Burdick swung on and missed, challenging Karaviotis with a fastball and coming out of it with a strikeout. Another 1-2-3 inning for the Anglers pitching staff. We now head to the top of the 7th. Still 8-0. Anglers lead on WCTV and the Cape Cod Baseball League Network. Before we go, though, we're joined by Megan O'Brien, the 3rd member of our broadcast team, who has a special guest for Red Shirt Friday.
Thanks, guys. That's right. I do have a special guest for Red Shirt Friday joining us, the Home Base Program, a organization that sponsors the Cape Cod Baseball League. Angela is their representative here, joined with us at Spillane Field tonight. And Angela, thank you so much for joining me. Now, tell us, what is the Home Base Program?
So the Home Base Program is a partnership between the Red Sox Foundation and Massachusetts General Hospital. We originally started after the Red Sox won the World Series in 2007. So the Red Sox went down to D.C., and on that visit they decided that they were going to go and take a tour of Walter Reed. And while they were there, they saw the soldiers. What was scheduled to be a small visit ended up being about half a day, and they came back and they wanted to do something, the Red Sox Foundation. So they met up with Massachusetts General Hospital, and they decided that they wanted to create a clinic to be able to help veterans struggling with post-traumatic stress and traumatic brain injury. So they started the Home Base Program.
So what in particular does the home base program do for families and veterans?
So we provide outpatient care. We have different events in Boston that are free to veterans and their families. And we're unique because we don't have payment as a barrier to care. We see veterans no matter what their discharge status is. And the veteran defines what their family is. So that could be a sister, a brother, a parent. They're all able to come to home base and seek care if they need it.
Now I'm told there's some race going on, a race to home plate at Fenway Park. When does that take place and where do the benefits go?
So we actually, we do have one of our largest fundraisers for the home base program on July 25th at Fenway Park. So it's the Run to Home Base. It's a great event. There's a 9K run as well as a 2 or 3 mile walk. And so fundraising requirements for that, but a really cool benefit to being active duty in the military is that there's just a $50 registration fee. So we highly encourage, if you're active duty military, to come in and join the home base team and do this, and all the money is going to benefit the home base program and veterans getting care at the clinic.
Well, thank you so much for joining us, and guys, maybe we'll have to form a team and run in that race to benefit the veterans. Back to you guys.
Thank you, Megan. And while you say that, you're a D1 cross-country athlete. I don't know if I could run that. Obviously support the cause, though, and very happy to support Red Shirt Fridays. Kyle Adams grounded out to short to begin the top half of the 7th inning. Now Garrett Hampson at the plate. Hampson is 1 for 2 on the day, 2 runs batted in, and a single, and a stolen base in the 2nd inning. Breaking pitch bends over for a strike, and it's now 1-2. Blake Fox being asked to eat up some innings for the Gatemen. He came in halfway through the 3rd inning. Now he's pitched the end of the 3rd, the 4th, the 5th, the 6th, now trying to get through the 7th. The 1-2 just got a piece and taps it foul, did Hampson. Fox with the 1-2. Just missing the outside corner, now 2-2. Official attendance for tonight's game is 819. Good to see fans showing up, even though the Gatemen are struggling as of late. 2-2, rope to center field. Kalika coming in, but making a head-high catch for out number 2.
Last home game for the Gatemen against the Orleans Firebirds, that night's attendance was clocked in at 1,055, and I believe it was the first time all season in which Spillane Field has hosted more than 1,000 members in attendance on a given night. Here today, 819. That's right in line with their season average.
First pitch sent foul off the bat of Kyle Brooks. Brooks 0 for 3, making his 5th trip to the plate. He was hit by a pitch and scored the game's first run back in the 1st inning. We will certainly have 4 digits for the All-Star game, which is a week from tomorrow. This one roped down the left field line and off the wall. Brooks had slowed up, now trotting into second for a stand-up double. He might have thought that ball was gone. It was out of our view, but it looked like it hit about halfway up the wall, just staying fair down the left field line. A 2-out double for Kyle Brooks, his first hit of the game. And now Trenton Brooks.
The Gatemen were 1 out away from getting their first 1-2-3 inning in the millennium that has transpired since they got a 1-2-3 inning against the Chatham Anglers. But Brooks has other thoughts, and now he's aboard for the 2nd time.
Brooks 1 for 2, a single, 2 walks, and a run scored. With a single to the outfield, he could score his surnamesake, Kyle Brooks, who's standing at second. First pitch tapped on the ground to second. High hop for Karaviotis, throws on to first. And that'll do it for the Anglers. They leave another man in scoring position. But at this point, they don't really care that much. They have a healthy lead at 8-0 as it's time to stretch here at Spillane Field. You're watching WCTV and the Cape Cod Baseball League Network. Back at Spillane Field, it's an 8-0 Chatham Anglers lead over the Wareham Gatemen as we head to the bottom half of the 7th inning. Eric Bramer joined by Jake Garcia and Megan O'Brien. We are being told by home plate umpire Charlie Campbell that there are going to be some defensive substitutions made by the Anglers, as are expected in a blowout game like this. Did you hear what he said by chance?
Exactly what those defensive substitutions are eludes me at the moment. Number 26 is playing shortstop now, which is Todd Zinnigy.
Todd Zinnigy, yep.
In place of Garrett Hampson in the 9-hole.
So we will make those changes in our scorecards. We urge you to do so as well if you're still keeping score at this point. Zinnigy.
Zinnigy.
Zinnigy is spelled C-Z-I-N-E-G-E, but pronounced Zinnigy. After 3.5 games against the Anglers, we finally have that one down. And we hope, against all hope, that we face the Anglers again in the playoffs. That would mean that the Gatemen are in the championship.
I'm sure the Chatham Anglers hope that as well. Poised to move to 4-0 against the Gatemen this season. I'm sure they would welcome a trip back to wherever that would take place. How does that work? Is it the team with the better record in the regular season?
I think it's the division that wins the All-Star game. That was a joke. I think it's the team that has a better record, yes. First pitch swinging and missing is Max Siebert, who came in as a defensive substitution for Nick Sierri to begin the 6th inning. Sierri had gone 0 for 1 with a hit by pitch and a strikeout. 0-1 from Burdick, misses low, it's 1-1.
I think talking about the All-Star game would be a good talking point right now. I actually read an article the other day that admitted, while the system is flawed, of course, no one likes it, how an exhibition game determines who has home field advantage in the World Series. It actually hasn't produced that many winners that would have otherwise been other winners.
Mm-hmm.
So the home field advantage, I want to say, on only one occasion, has actually given the home team an actual advantage.
Max Siebert gets his first hit of the year. He was hitless in 10 at-bats going into that plate appearance, but lining one up the middle, a leadoff single for the catcher for the Gatemen. Now a runner at first for David McKinnon. It should also be noted that it replaced an even more arbitrary and flawed system. It used to alternate every other year.
Which is, I mean, the same to me as the All-Star game. Both are just ridiculous. I think it, of course, should be. Team with the best regular season record should get it.
Strike on the outside corner to McKinnon. There are fireworks going off beyond the right field fence.
One's choreographed with the playing of God Bless America as well.
Yes, a rather unexpected rendition of God Bless America. We weren't made aware of that. Not that we should have been, but had to go for a little bit longer break there. Count now 1-1 to McKinnon, who's 0 for 2 on the day. Reached on a fielder's choice in the second, then stole second. The 1-1 missing outside, it's 2-1. A little late for fireworks, isn't it?
Yeah, but we also saw some throughout the season that were a lot earlier than would normally expect as well. Maybe fireworks are just commonplace out here.
I'm just saying late in the year. Past the 4th of July, what's the point of having fireworks? As the 2-1 is sent foul down the third base line near the Anglers' dugout. Hopefully everyone's all right.
I know, and I'm agreeing with you in saying, what's the point of having fireworks on June 16th?
That's very true. I don't know. But we've been told by our viewers that any unauthorized use of fireworks is strictly prohibited, so this must be some gathering of some sort, perhaps a town or county fair. 2-2, a half swing, the appeal down to first. He did not go, says Sparky Burns behind first base. So now the count runs full to McKinnon. Siebert, who isn't going to win any Olympic sprints anytime soon, probably not taking off from first. Burdick's payoff pitch. McKinnon hits it well to center field. Back is Rodriguez, but shy of the warning track, he puts it away for out number 1. A deep center field here at Spillane Field, and we've only seen, I think, 1 home run go out to center. McKinnon hit that ball on the screws, but not a whole lot you can do when it's 4-12 to dead center. That one might have been out had we been playing this game in Chatham at Veterans Field, where it's 385.
Yeah, that one was hit on the screws from McKinnon. Probably the hardest he's hit a ball since his home run this season. Has a lot of singles to his name and only 1 extra base hit on the year. That one had extra bases written all over it, but like you said, very spacious out there in center field, allowing Joey Rodriguez to make the catch.
Jay Jabs is pinch hitting for Andrew Kisner in the DH spot, so it will not require a defensive substitution. Kisner was 0 for 2 with a strikeout and a fly out to left. First pitch to Jabs, a high strike. It's 0-1.
Good 12-6 curveball there from Carl Burdick. Saw that early as he was releasing it and had the vintage curveball pop before it gets to the plate, rising and then darting towards the bottom portion of the zone.
The 0-1 to Jabs, flipped foul down the left field line and out of play. Burdick in his second inning of work trying to eliminate the runner at first. High fastball is fouled back to the screen by Jabs, still 0-2. The scouts behind home plate have left for the evening, at least most of them have. If they were here to see the starting pitcher for the Gatemen, Sean Anderson, Anderson did not make it out of the third inning. 0-2 to Jabs, low in the dirt, nice stop by Barnett, keeping Siebert at first. This game, at the very least, moving along at a quicker pace than Wednesday night's affair in Chatham. 1-2 to Jabs, missing outside 2-2. That game lasted more than 3 hours.
3 hours and 21 minutes to be exact.
And that was an improvement over the pace that it had set through the first 5 or 6 innings. Here's the 2-2 to Jabs. Hit in the air. Left side of the infield. Shortstop Zinnigy making his first play of the game. He puts it away for out number 2.
That was a fly ball in the infield, and normally that calls for me to write pop-up, but that was a big league pop-up, so I'll put F.
As did I. Now Logan Sowers getting a third trip to the plate. Sowers 0 for 2 on the day, grounded out to third, then struck out looking. Siebert still at first. He led off this inning with a single, his first of the year. Burdick's pitch to Sowers on the outside corner, strike 1.
We were not made aware of this, but Brooks is the guy at shortstop right now. Meanwhile, it's Zinnigy over at second base.
Yes. You are right. The 0-1, low in the dirt, another nice stop by Barnett. So Kyle Brooks at second, Todd Zinnigy, or excuse me, Kyle Brooks at short, Todd Zinnigy at second. The 1-1 off the end of the bat and foul up the first base line. Now 1-2. The 1-2 to Sowers, flip foul. Burdick from the stretch, trying to retire Sowers and move us on to the 8th inning. The 1-2. High fastball got him. Another strikeout for Sowers. And the Gatemen go down in the 7th inning without scoring a run. We head to the top of the 8th. Still 8-0 Chatham on WCTV and the Cape Cod Baseball League Network. We're in the top of the 8th inning at Spillane Field in what the ancient Greeks used to refer to as a laugher. The score 8-0 Anglers over the Gatemen. Eric Bramer joined by Jake Garcia and Megan O'Brien. It'll be 3, 4, and 5 due up for the Anglers. Will Craig, Aaron Barnett, and Nate Mondu, or at least those spots due up. We've seen a lot of substitutions by both sides as this game gets into the later innings. No runs have been scored since the top of the 4th. Chatham with single runs in the 1st and 2nd, a 5 spot in the 3rd, and a single run in the top of the 4th, but nothing since then, and nothing on the bottom half of the scoreboard for the Wareham Gatemen, who have been held scoreless after scoring only 1 run against the Anglers in Chatham on Wednesday night.
Yeah, and that 1 run came in the 1st inning, so 8 innings in that game, plus 7 in this game against the Anglers. They've now been held scoreless for 15 straight innings.
Blake Fox, to his credit, has pitched pretty well, as the first pitch is fouled off right side by Craig, who's 1 for 3 on the day with a double, a walk, and 2 runs scored.
So as is customary with our post-game stuff, we interview players of the game. Who's your player of the game right now? Is there one?
I think it's got to be Blake Fox, as the 0-1 misses inside, now 1-1. Fox came in the middle of the 3rd inning with runners at 2nd and 3rd. Both those runs came in to score, as well as an unearned run that was charged to Fox. He allowed an earned run in the 4th inning. But since then, 3 shutout innings, as the 1-1 is a called strike, now 1-2. So if he can get through the 8th inning here, he will have pitched 5 2/3 innings of 1-run ball. Hit off the end of the bat into shallow right field. Charlie Warren charging in and making the play. Out number 1 comes off the bat of Will Craig. That'll bring up Aaron Barnett, who is 1 for 4 on the day. An RBI ground out in the 1st, and most notably an RBI single in the 4th. That was the last run of the game that scored for either side. Looks like that's going to be the end of the night for Blake Fox, who, as we just mentioned, pitched very admirably for the Gatemen, eating up some innings and saving the bullpen, or what serves as a bullpen for this improvised pitching staff. New pitcher coming in for the Gatemen. When we come back, we'll have more. It's still 8-0 in the 8th on WCTV and the Cape Cod Baseball League Network. 8-0 with 1 down and nobody on for the Chatham Anglers. The new pitcher in the game for the Gatemen is Stephen Woods Jr., who has pitched pretty well and will look to continue his string of success here against Chatham.
And Stephen Woods Jr.'s last outing, it came against Orleans on July 14th. Threw 2 innings in that outing, allowed an earned run, and so his ERA up a few ticks, was below 3 before that, but now sitting at 3.07 on the season. Has gone 14 2/3 innings, and in those 14 innings, struck out 10. Command has been a little bit shady, walked 7. So coming into this game, some things for him to work on. Final line on Blake Fox, 5 innings of work, 2 runs, only 1 of them earned. Allowed only 1 hit, struck out 3.
That sounds like the player of the game to me in an 8-0 defeat if the score holds. Woods coming in will face Barnett and Mondu. He hopes no more than that. Barnett stepping up, as we mentioned before the break when we thought Fox was going to be the one facing him. 1 for 4 with an RBI ground out and an RBI single. First pitch, a strike. It's 0-1. Woods pitching from the windup, delivers the 0-1, hit in on the hands and in foul territory. John Sternagel, the third baseman, puts it away for out number 2. Score that FF5. Mondu on the day, stepping in 2 for 4. He's reached base 3 times, once on a fielder's choice, once on an RBI single, and then once on a double. Woods' first pitch misses low ball 1. Siebert hasn't given up on this game, throwing a P back to the mound. Always like to see that.
Had his first base hit of the season, too, so.
Rejuvenated.
Finding value in blowouts, always the theme of our broadcasts. And Siebert showcasing the exact same mentality.
The 2-0 sent foul left side, 2-1. You ever catch at any level?
Yeah, actually. Not extensively, but in a pinch, I was always the guy to serve as a utility man.
Okay.
I've caught some flamethrowers, too, and now a guy who's now playing professional baseball.
Chopped on the ground to second. Karaviotis has it, throws on to first. A 1-2-3 inning for the Gatemen pitching staff. The first time all evening and the first time since Tuesday night.
Before that,
Game
2 of this 4-game series, they didn't even get one on Tuesday night.
Whatever. We'll send it to break. 8-0 Chatham over Wareham. We head to the bottom of the 8th on WCTV and the Cape Cod Baseball League Network. Eight 0 Anglers over the Gatemen as we head to the bottom of the 8th inning. Eric Bramer joined by Jake Garcia and Megan O'Brien. It'll be 8-9-1 due up for the Gatemen, facing a new pitcher in the game for the Anglers, James Mulry.
Mulry, the left-handed pitcher out of Northeastern University, 1-0 on the year, 2.46 ERA. He's thrown 7 innings and struck out 9 batters. The guy before him, though, trying to make a case for player of the game.
Yeah. Carl Burdick, 2 innings pitched, 1 hit allowed, no runs, no walks, 2 strikeouts, and 30 pitches, 22 of them for strikes.
That's what I was referring to. That's a very impressive mark. 22 out of 30 in terms of strikes.
I don't believe we are allowed to interview opposing players for the player of the game, but in an 8-0, what looks to be a Gateman defeat, might be forced to entertain that notion. John Sternagel stepping in, 1 for 2 on the day. He singled in the 3rd, then was cut down at home, trying to score on a grounder back to the pitcher. Takes a called strike, it's 0-1.
I think Nate Mondu, who's 2 for 4 today, would like to be interviewed, or rather 2 for 5, a double, a single, and an RBI. We'll leave that to the Chatham broadcasters, though.
Swung on and missed, it's quickly 0-2. I think Blake Fox is a perfectly cromulent candidate. Mulry's 0-2 to Sternagel, missing high, and now 1-2. Mulry peering in for the sign, still Barnett behind the plate. The 1-2, rope to left field, down into the corner. Mondu after it and putting it away. That's about as hard hit a ball as we've seen off the bat of John Sternagel, but it's out number 1 here in the bottom of the 8th.
Yeah, I think this Gateman team as a whole just doesn't have that immense pop that we're used to seeing. That ball looked like it jumped off the bat, and then once it hit the airwaves, kind of died. This isn't a team that is going to rope out an immense number of home runs. They need to get more on top of the ball. Yeah, Sternagel hit that hard, but really not much to show for it.
Now Preston Grand Prix, 0 for 2 on the day. Ground out to second and a fly out to right. Takes a strike on the outside corner. It's 0-1. The 0-1. Hit in the air, right side, foul territory. First baseman Adams after it. Still chasing, diving, and colliding with the fence. He comes up empty. I beg your pardon. Did he catch that?
No, I don't believe so.
I don't think so either. That was my first instinct, but I thought the first base umpire, Sparky Burns, held up his right hand. Oh, well. It's 0-2 now to Grand Prix.
You like the effort, though.
Yeah, and, you know, from our vantage point, it looked like the makings of a spectacular catch. Mulry's 0-2 to Grand Prix. Strike 3 looking right down the middle. And quickly 2 down in the home half of the 8th inning. That'll bring up the top of the order and Andrew Kalika. Kalika 0 for 3 on the day. He reached on a fielder's choice back in the third inning, then got as far as third. But that was it. Mulry's first pitch to Kalika misses low and away, ball 1. Mulry peers in. The 1-0 to Kalika is chopped up the middle. It's going to be a tough play for Zinnigy. Throws across in time to get Kalika by a half a step. Looks like it'll be back-to-back 0 for 4s for Andrew Kalika atop this Gatemen lineup. And we head to the top of the ninth. Still 8-0 Chatham over Wareham on WCTV and the Cape Cod Baseball League Network. The score is 8-0 Anglers over the Gatemen as we head to the top of the ninth inning. Eric Raymer joined by Jake Garcia and Megan O'Brien. Stephen Woods Jr. looks to take the Gatemen the rest of the way. He got the last 2 outs of the 8th inning. Now he will face 6, 7, and 8 in the Anglers lineup. Zach Short, Joey Rodriguez, and Kyle Adams.
Connor Beck assumes right field in the place of Charlie Warren. So swapping out a pair of right-handers for each other. Now taking a look around the rest of the league, what happened tonight over at Lowell Park in Katuitt, Massachusetts. It was the Falmouth Commodores who topped the Kettleers 5-2. The Harwich Mariners topped the first place Hyannis Harbor Hawks 6-1. Bourne beat YD, which snaps YD's 5-game winning streak. Final score in that game 4-0 Bourne. And then an upset, the Brewster Whitecaps extend their winning streak to 4 games. They win 9-2 over the first place Orleans Firebirds. And excuse me, that game's still going on in the bottom of the 5th inning. Brewster 9, Orleans 2. But for the Gatemen, what they care about is the fact that Falmouth won. And so if the Gatemen drop this game, and they're 3 outs from doing so, that would put them down into 4th place and boost Falmouth, who will now be 4 games back of Hyannis, into 3rd.
Zach Short takes outside ball 1. Short on the day is 1 for 4, an RBI double and a run scored back in the 3rd inning. He also reached on an error by the third baseman John Sternagel in the 4th. The 1-0 misses high ball 1, as Short looked like he wanted to take a hack at it, but then at the last second thought better of it. The 2-0 missing low, and now 3-0. Stephen Woods, who, as you mentioned in the last inning, has had some command issues this year, trying not to walk the leadoff hitter here in the top of the ninth. There's a strike on the inside corner, now 3-1. Three-1 to Short. Check swing. He did not go around. And he will take first with a leadoff walk here in the top of the ninth. Joey Rodriguez stepping in now. He is 0 for 1. He came in as a pinch hitter in the 6th inning for Jake Fraley.
Yeah, no sense in running out your prized possessions and Jake Fraley running the risk of having him exposed to an injury. So Fraley taken out of the game. Good reps for Rodriguez now, who gets his 2nd at-bat of the game.
First pitch hits the inside corner, 0-1. Woods comes to a set and delivers the 0-1 to Rodriguez, missing low, 1-1. Woods shakes off his catcher, Siebert. The 1-1. On the outside corner, it's 1-2. Woods checks the runner at first. Now the 1-2 to Rodriguez. Breaking pitch, got him looking. Pretty tight breaking ball shown off by Stephen Woods Jr., out number 1 here in the top half of the 9th inning.
Yeah, good offering is secondary stuff there. Woods Jr., a 6th-round selection out of the 2013 MLB draft by the Rays, showcasing some of that stellar stuff that notched him that high of a selection. Showcasing that he could have starter potential down the line and not that he solely relies on that fastball.
Kyle Adams, 1 for 4 on the day. He takes low ball 1. That one hit was an RBI single back in the 3rd inning when the Anglers did most of their damage. Put up a 5 spot on 4 hits and 1 error. And that was pretty much all she wrote. The 1-0, missing low, 2-0, and now Siebert tells his pitcher, hey, settle down. This is an 8-run ball game. You don't have to worry.
And then fires a dart back to him on the mound. See our camera guys practicing their rack focus techniques.
Mm-hmm. Whether they know it or not. Here's the 2-0, missing low in the dirt, now 3-0.
They're probably on autofocus, so something walks in front of their picture, that would demand the attention of the focus and cause everything else to be out of focus and blurry.
Do you know your way around a camera?
Oh, I for sure know my way around a camera.
I think I do too, but it's more intuition than formal knowledge. Count 3-0 now to Kyle Adams. Zach Short at first, 1 down here in the top of the 9th inning. Woods delivers on the outside corner or thereabouts, and now the count 3-1. Three and one, misses high. And ball 4, Adams goes to first. Short, who had reached on a leadoff walk, goes to second. Now the pinch hitter for the 9-hitter, Todd Zinnigy, stepping to the plate. Zinnigy came in as a defensive substitution for Garrett Hampson. Hampson had gone 1 for 3 with 2 RBI, a single and a walk, and a stolen base.
Zinnigy has some ownage on the Gatemen in a few games this season. 5 hits and only 8 at-bats. Not like these stats mean a whole lot right now in an 8-0 ball game, but interesting to note that he loves playing the Gatemen.
Siebert might have gotten crossed up on that first pitch strike, so now he goes out to talk to Woods. Let's look at good things that happened tonight. We're on pace for a game that clocks in at under 3 hours. The Gatemen got a pretty good pitching performance from Blake Fox, and at least so far, Stephen Woods Jr. No runs allowed since the 4th inning.
Correct.
Nobody got hurt, and that is not insignificant on this banged-up roster.
Only 1 error was committed.
Yep. Actually, I've got 2 in my scorebook. 1 on Sierri.
Yes. And then 1 on Sternagel.
Yep. Only 2 errors committed.
Baby steps.
Gatemen have 3 hits, and they've spread the love around. That means 3 different players got a hit tonight.
Sternagel was one of those guys, and he was in a bit of a slump coming into this game, so
always good to see.
Maybe he'll start turning things around at the plate from here on out.
Nick Sierri was hit by a pitch, bumping up that on-base percentage. Now the 1-2 to Zinnigy, low in the dirt, 3-1. Max Siebert got his first hit.
In all honesty, Max Siebert has been a bright spot
in
this game. He's been great behind the plate, got his first hit of the year. Catching depth, you can never have too much of it, and looks like Siebert can provide some.
He looks so good in batting practice, but perhaps just a little bit unused to the 90-mile-per-hour stuff that he sees in the game.
Yeah, make no mistake about it. Siebert has some pop in his bat. We see him, like Logan Sowers, routinely put balls into the left field bleachers. It's just a matter of whether or not that materializes into the game.
Line to the glove of Karaviotis. The throw on a second in time. A nifty double play. Score at 4-6. Zinnigy retired, and then Short doubled off a second. That's how we end the top half of the ninth inning. We head to the bottom of the ninth. Gatemen need 8 runs to tie. You're watching WCTV and the Cape Cod Baseball League Network. Eight nothing in the ninth inning. The Gatemen need 8 runs to tie the Chatham Anglers and keep this game going. They'll have to do so against a new pitcher for the Anglers. It is number 25, Andre Scrub. Scrub has been one of the 2 guys who has closed games for this Anglers squad, the other being Aaron McGarity. McGarity has 6 saves. Scrub has 4. This is not a save situation by any means, but getting Scrub some work at the very least and keeping him fresh.
We saw McGarity the last time out, which happened to only be 2 days ago against the Chatham Anglers. He came in the 1-run ball game and notched that 6th save of the season of his. So now we get a look at the other guy, the other closer.
Scrub will face 2, 3, and 4 for the Gatemen in the home half of the ninth inning. Charlie Warren, Mark Karaviotis, and then Max Siebert, who is pinch hitting for Nick Sierri. The Gatemen have played well this season, even though it has not looked that way in the past couple weeks. So what's been the biggest change for you? I mean, the obvious answer is the hitting. But even at the beginning, they weren't getting all the extra base hits. They were just hitting with runners in scoring position, and it seemed like other teams were making mistakes. That's not happening anymore.
Yeah, other teams have definitely cleaned up their messes and patched some holes that maybe were bigger at the start of the season than they are now. Other teams continuing to get guys in. The Gatemen really haven't benefited from that. They don't have that one star in the middle of their order like the Orleans team does in Bobby Dahlbeck. They don't have a guy who goes up there and down by 3 with 2 runners on, you don't have a sense that with one swing of the bat this game can be tied. That, and as well as the fact that things haven't clicked all at the same time for the Gatemen, losers of what will soon be 9 of their past 10 games. And I think a big reason for that is it's disheartening when you lose all these games. The pitching staff shows up one day and the hitters don't pick you up. And then so the hitters start pressing and then the pitching staff isn't there the next time. It's this never-ending cycle right now that needs to stop somehow.
I beg your pardon, this is Connor Beck batting for Charlie Warren. He was a defensive replacement in the top half of the inning. The 2-0 miss is outside, and now 3-0 to Beck. Season is not over, and the Gatemen still in pretty good spot for a playoff spot. 3-0 splits the plate in half. It's 3-1. And there are roster moves that can be made as well. Not sure if those will happen or not, but there is some flexibility to pick someone up. The 3-1 misses low, and Beck is aboard, ball 4. This is how it starts.
This is exactly how rallies start. Leadoff base runner aboard in the form of a walk. Gatemen haven't even exhausted a hit yet to do that, so they probably have another 1 or 2 up their sleeves.
Kramer Robertson is going to pinch hit for Mark Karaviotis. Karaviotis had gone 0 for 3 with a ground out, a pop out, and a strikeout.
Number 3, Kramer Robertson from LSU.
Robertson has a pretty good batting average coming into the game as he takes strike 1 on the inside corner. The average at 278, and it has gone down. .15 singles, no extra base hits as ball 1 misses low. First I thought I wasn't looking at Robertson's stat line because I saw Louisiana State University, and I'm not used to seeing LSU spelled out like that. But Robertson out of LSU, one of several LSU players out on the Cape this summer.
Same thing with the University of Mississippi.
Yeah.
just all miss.
The 1-2 misses low, now 2-2. Yeah, same kind of vibe. It's tough to get used to that when it's all spelled out like that. Runner goes. The 2-2 is chopped on the ground to short. Only one play for the shortstop Brooks. He throws on to first. Out number 1 with Beck advancing to second. So the Gatemen, if they can get a hit here, will most likely push a run across the board and at least save a little bit of face. Max Siebert stepping in. He did single in his only plate appearance tonight. Came in as a substitution for Sierri, who had gone 0 for 1 with a hit by pitch. That was Siebert's first hit in 11 at-bats so far this year. Takes ball 1 outside. Now that he's off the schneid, perhaps he can build on that and drive the ball somewhere here. The 1-0, hit in the air, softly, behind first base. Adams in foul territory, catches it, and now 2 down. The Gatemen are down to their last out. It'll be left to David McKinnon, who is 0 for 3. He reached on a fielder's choice in the second and stole second, but was then stranded there. Scrubs pitch to McKinnon, misses low ball 1.
McKinnon also put a charge into a ball in his last at-bat into center field that potentially would have been gone at a few ballparks in the Cape. YD is certainly one that rings a bell, but he hit that one well.
The 1-0 rolled on the ground to third. Short has it. The throw across the diamond is high, but Adams keeps his foot on the bag. McKinnon retired, and the Gatemen lose another one to the Chatham Anglers. They have been swept in the season series 4-0. The final score 8-0. The winning pitcher is Daniel Castano. The loser, Sean Anderson. The Gatemen dropped to 12-18-1 on the year as the Anglers improve their record to 18-13. Totals on the board are correct. The Anglers scored 8 runs on 11 hits. They committed 1 error. The Gatemen in defeat. No runs on 3 hits. They committed 2 errors.
So make that 8 losses in a row against the Eastern Division of the Cape Cod Baseball League. The Gatemen really can't seem to find a pulse when in terms of interleague matchups. And that's why they'll be happy to see that they have 9 of their last 15 games, or rather 13 games, against the western portion of the league. 2 against Harwich, a team that's in last place in the East, 1 against YD, and 1 against Brewster. So there are winnable games coming up. They're through the brunt of their schedule, which consisted of them playing teams like Orleans and Chatham. Now the Gatemen 0-8 against those 2 teams. So some good times are ahead for the Gatemen. They're not as bad as they're playing right now. They're also not as good as we saw early on in the season. Somewhere in between is the team that we'll see rolling into the playoffs, and hopefully that team comes around sooner rather than later.
The Gatemen are back in the West Division as they take on the Hyannis Harbor Hawks here at Spillane Field tomorrow night at 7 o'clock. The last time they played a team from the Western Division was their last win. It was against Catuit back on the 11th of July. So we will sign off here from Spillane Field. For Jake Garcia, Megan O'Brien, our broadcast coordinator, Warren Randolph, everyone at WCTV, I'm Eric Bramer. Thank you for sticking with us, and we'll see you tomorrow. The final score, 8-0 Anglers over the Gatemen.